ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome in. Today we are doing something a little bit different than our normal broadcast. Today is Tuesday, and we typically talk about shit that's going on around the world. Today is hosted by myself, Conquest, and our co-host, Unraveled 935. We are live on all social media platforms, guys. So we have a few topics I want to discuss today, and then we'll hand it off to our co-host with some topics he wants to discuss today. So first things first, let's talk about Minnesota, shall we? By now, everyone's probably seen the video. In fact, many of us have seen the video from multiple angles and from multiple different accounts of what happened that night, or I should say that day. Now, I'm going to start off by saying first and foremost, I'm not political in any way, shape, or form. But I will say this: that was 1,010% murder. Okay. That being said, there was no justification for that person to do exactly what they did. It was an unjustified attack. Let's put it that way, right? Now, at the end of the day, she even tried to let the ICE agents go by. It's very clear today. She waved him on. She said, feel free, go ahead. You guys are first. You guys were here, etc., etc. As you continue to watch the video, and then if you watch the video from the officer side of things, she even says, I'm not mad at you guys, even though you guys just try to rip me out of my fucking car. And then, again, you can see the video from multiple different angles that show that she's clearly trying to drive away. So, in my opinion, I find that it was extremely inappropriate and definitely illegal for her to pull her weapon, for him to pull his weapon out and to fire 3 rounds. I want to say this, that I'm deeply sorry for, to her family for her loss of life. I think that he should go to jail for the shit that he did. I don't think that she's going to get any justice, just based on the current state of what's going on here in the United States. Like I said, I'm not political by any means, but I do think that it is vitally important that we talk about it. Yeah, Sherrod, unfortunately, he's not. He definitely won't face justice. The real problem is that it's part of the rhetoric that is being cast. Not just by this presidency, but by the entire administration. There's lots of issues going on here, and unfortunately, that's kind of where we are in this world right now. It's sad, it's disgusting, and things just need to change at the end of the day. Unraveled, you got anything to say about this?
I really don't, because my tongue is tied with this one, man. It's it's common for that country to do things that they do, and it doesn't even surprise me, but it's sad what they leave behind. They leave like a lot of a trail of death that's never justified in the end, They just see it as a casual, or part of their routine. I don't know if people understand what I mean by that. They do so much of this, they cause damage, they hurt people, and then they just simply move on from it, like it didn't happen, or it doesn't matter. But if he was the one that was shot, they would expect the entire universe to hunt down the shooter. Right? Because he's an agent of ICE. So he's considered as a valuable source for a human being. You know, he's I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, that's all I got, man.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing too is one of the things that was mentioned that really kind of disturbed me was and I only say it disturbed me for the simple fact of the matter is that I am studying law myself, and for me, we heard recently that Vice President J.D. Vance basically said that he has absolute immunity. Now, absolute immunity is not a legally qualifying term um, in any court of law. Brandon, thank you for joining. How you doing today, man? It's not a qualifying term of law, and so we see things like this where the government kind of has this overreach that uh, doesn't exactly make sense. That violates all legal precedents, all legal whatever. And unfortunately, like Sherrod said, he definitely won't be prosecuted. That's unfortunate. And if I'm not mistaken, they actually recently just announced that there is a GoFundMe for this ICE agent, which I find to be quite odd. That there's a GoFundMe page set up for him, like he actually got injured or something. So to me, it's just a very odd situation. I'm glad to hear it, Brendan. Thank you for joining in. Since you guys are just joining, we are kind of we're touching upon like really really deep topics today. Something we like to do we do well not like to do, but something we do on Tuesdays. We hadn't done it in a while, so we're gonna kind of get back into it. Um, like I said, just talking about real shit, shit that's going on in the world. Um, right now, we're openly discussing what kind of went down in uh, Minneapolis last week with Renee Good, um, and we're basically just we're just talking about it at the end of the day. I find that it's extremely uh, concerning that ICE agents are just acting as if they are above the law. Um, and I will reiterate this as much as I can. I am not political by any way, shape, or form, but it's deeply disturbing and very coincidentally, it is. Let me rephrase that. It's oddly similar to the SS and the Gestapo and the secret police and what they did with going door to door and taking people out of their homes just because they were Jewish. And I think that in and of itself is deeply disturbing. That the comparison has to be made. Um, and so we find ourselves in this situation where this administration has done a lot to basically undermine all the democracy that the United States has tried to um, what's the right word for it, that they have tried to essentially put forth right into the world, and how we've worked to build partnerships over the long term. So I think that's the kind of that's the biggest thing that I take away from this. Like, you know what I mean? Dawson, we'll send it off to you, I guess, for the next topic.
What's the next topic?
Whatever you want.
Oh, that was you really shut it down quickly, huh? I thought it was gonna
No,
be
no, no.
a
It's just
bit.
I just think that there's lots to talk about.
Yeah, there's no rush, man. Just I generally don't know. Just if you don't mind starting up the next one.
Yeah, all good. So
Yeah.
next topic. Yes, that was actually gonna. That was kind of where I was going with this next. Actually, Brandon, the whole principle, the whole concept of like attacking Greenland. To me, it doesn't. It just doesn't make sense, man. I think that we have way too much uh, way too much going on right now internally that attacking Greenland isn't going to benefit us in any way, shape, or form. I mean, that's our closest, one of our closest allies that have done, just about everything for us. In terms of um, being there for us during World War II. They lost some of, their people there. They did a lot for us during the Afghanistan War. Um, Granted they don't have like a large military presence, but like I said, it's hard to attack somebody who has been there and supported us through everything. That's kind of like the biggest takeaway that I have from that. Um, Big Papa, thank you for joining. If you guys are just joining us, we are basically, just talking about shit that's going on in the world and kind of just, seeing what we can do to kind of solve some of these, situations. Obviously, not we can't physically solve them, but obviously, um, we have an opportunity here to talk about it and perhaps maybe invoke meaningful change, right? Um, that being said, when we look at what's going on, specifically here in the United States, you got things like President Trump kidnapping the Venezuelan president. Already, that's a violation of many uh, international laws, NATO laws, things of that nature, and yet here we are with no consequence. Supposedly, the Senate and Congress have been voting to uh, impeach Donald Trump, but we all know how that went last time. So again, I can say this till I'm blue in the face. Nothing will happen until meaningful change is actually, enacted, right? And the we run into situations where, like, if you look at how we're voting, right? We have old antiquated systems between uh, the popular vote versus the electoral college, right? Popular vote doesn't mean shit. Okay, it hasn't meant shit forever. But at the same time, they kind of put us into a position where um, if you don't vote, you're screwed either way. And I think that if we change the way that these voting policies, operate, then things could be different, right? Unlikely, but they could be. The EU is defending Greenland, and now China is defending Venezuela. Well, the thing is, the whole thing about China and Venezuela, Brandon, is not that they're defending Venezuela. So what it is and I'll explain this. Maybe you don't know this. So Venezuela um, has obviously the world's largest oil reserves. They are responsible, or they hold. I think it was 100. Was it 70 trillion barrels of oil, or something to that effect? 130 trillion barrels of oil. China consumes 70% of all of their oil purchases come from Venezuela. So 70% of that. Now, if the United States is to control that oil, what happens is that puts China in a bad spot. Same thing with Russia. Russia gets about, I think, if I remember correctly, I remember reading it. I think it was like around 60% of their oil comes from Venezuela. So that being said, if the United States is to effectively control another country and their oil reserves, then you take two of your enemies and you put them at a disadvantage, right? Because then what happens? They can't refine that oil. They can't turn it into products to operate their vehicles. They can't operate their military. They're effectively shut down, right? Power plants don't get utilized. They can't manufacture. They can't do stuff. And in turn, that also directly affects us because now we can't get products that we need from these countries, right? So at the end of the day, us holding a monopoly on the oil doesn't benefit us in any way, shape, or form. Yes, that might mean we can open more, factories and stuff, but the problem is when you have countries like China who have significant metal resources that you can't find anywhere else in the world, things that are in your smartphones. That's why all of our smartphones are manufactured in China. Is because all the rare minerals that are used in like your iPhone, your Android device, they're all in China. Without that oil, they can't refine and process those minerals to be able to produce these smartphones. And then what happens, right? Then we're fucked. So either way, if we sit here and we just go along with this, it's not doing us any favors as consumers here in the states. In fact, uh, somebody else also took over other countries in a similar fashion, right? Didn't necessarily kidnap the president of such nation, but I've had this conversation with Unraveled before, separately, of course. Who else did this was Adolf Hitler. Now, granted, some of those territories were part of Germany previously, and who wanted to kind of separate themselves from, German rule. But at the end of the day, you can't help but look at that same mentality of like, look, they're isolating a specific race of people, or people in general that are Spanish speaking, and they're putting them in concentration camps. Now, they're not calling them concentration camps; they're calling them things like Alligator Alcatraz, right? But let's be honest, they're concentrating one group of people in a camp. That's the definition of a concentration camp, right? And a lot of people think, oh yeah, concentration camps have to do with like the gas chambers and blah blah blah. It's not true. It's just a concentration of people in one location. Again, when we look at what else he's kind of done, he's also now said that he's also going to do the same thing that he did to Venezuela, to Cuba, and to other South American countries, right? And the problem is that he thinks that NATO is just going to be okay with that, right? It's not. There's no country in the world right now, regardless of how big their military is or how strong the military is or how small, that is going to stand by and allow the United States to willingly and maliciously attack these countries to quote unquote run them while they find another leader. So again, there's a lot of things that are going on within this country that are eerily similar to the Nazi regime. Well, basically, when Adolf Hitler became Supreme Chancellor before the whole Reich and the Nazi regime, right? The reduction in education, right? Banning books, banning radio, banning certain newspapers from printing, right? Especially if they were Jewish newspapers. Similar to the reduction of the Department of Education here in the United States, right? Now, this one I could care less about, but obviously so there's some people who are really adamant about it, is the Department of Equity and Inclusion. Again, it doesn't matter to me. That department means nothing to me because it holds no impact over my life, right? And so when you look at these types of things, and then all of a sudden you're withholding food from millions of Americans, all because you want to line your pockets, you want to build a $300 million ballroom, but you don't want to give people health care or food. Again, it all falls in line with the similar practices of that regime. What's going on, Mike? Welcome in. That's basically all I'm going to say on that topic for right now. I mean, we can certainly discuss that further. There's another topic I wanted to kind of cover. This is more for the international folks who are joining us today. And also, for the people here in the states who do enjoy soccer, or some people call it football. Um, so one of the things that I recently heard today was that director of FIFA basically uh, provided a warning to um, Christy Nome, who is the DHS secretary, and basically said, "Look, if you come at our people who have tickets to the event, there's going to basically be problems." And not so many words. You know, and I think that that's extremely important um, because he wants to make sure that everyone here is safe, right? Football is not just about a sport, right? It's about a collection of nations coming together to enjoy something. Whether or not you enjoy the same team is besides the point, right? You're there for the love of the game. It's no different than, basketball or football. I mean, yes, we all have our rivalries with someone else. We all have instances of, heated arguments about which team is better, what players are better. But at the end of the day, we all come together for the love of the game, right? And so, according to this, it looks so basically. Let me pull up the video because I have it on my phone actually. Let me pull up the video so I can tell you exactly what it said. So it says any undocumented immigrant who attempts to attend the World Cup will be detained, right? Regardless if they have tickets. So President Gianni Infantino took 3 actions that rendered her warning ineffective. He launched a FIFA's global a fan asylum program. Now, this is the part that I think is absolutely incredible, and this is the type of thing that we need to happen in more sports around the world, not just in soccer. But because FIFA is such a globally recognized organization, obviously the NFL, the NBA, yes, they're globally recognized, but FIFA truly is a global brand. Okay, all fans holding tickets for the 2026 World Cup, regardless of their immigration status, will receive a 90-day temporary entry waiver guaranteed by FIFA and the Department of State. In addition, FIFA's legal team will accompany each fan throughout the entire process. And then he publicly condemned the United States for turning the World Cup into a political stage. And he said it's an insult to international football. And he says, Ms. Nome, you are not protecting the United States. You are humiliating children, families who love football, banning them and making. Hold on 1 second. Let me go back 1 slide. It says, hold on. And families who love football, once, and banning them and making them look like criminals. He then says he called for an urgent review of the host country obligations clause. Under the new rules, any country that detains or expels ticket-holding fans during the tournament will lose host status and be required to pay a $15 billion fine to FIFA and other co-hosting nations. That, to me, is the epitome of an incredible person. Okay? That's something that you don't see anywhere else. And I think that was more than appropriately written and more than appropriately said. Oh, that's you, Morgie? Dawson, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna say to all the people who are watching you, right? I don't like the United States. I would like them to perish. All truth. I'll say it. I'm not gonna undertone and keep it nice. The amount of damage they cause over every single thing they want to control. Whatever's in the way, they want to be. Henny, Conquest, you've heard me. We've talked about this several times. The topic is exhausting. because each and every day there's a new problem, but the problem is caused deliberately.
Hmm.
And usually, I know it's a bigger, it's a covert scheme. You know, like there's people who are in charge and in a, who are operating from the dark. So it's bigger than what a lot. I think a lot of us are aware. Something's something's going on where the eye is unable to see.
Right. Exactly.
So all these things are orchestrated. So how can how can a country like this? I'm not talking about the people. I'm not talking about every single person living there. But how can a country cause so much damage and be expected to be seen as a justice-fueled country, causing like a lot of it is orchestrated, man. I don't know each and every detail, but I'm not. I know you're mentioning the FIFA thing. I'll get back to that. The situation Russia and Ukraine, clearly a distraction for their enemies, while they can do what they want to do. It's quite obvious, isn't it?
Yep.
That's a distraction. But I know, Russia's not dumb. Russia's not retarded. They can see through this, you know. And then now they're gonna go as far as detaining people for purchasing a ticket with their money to go watch a a a game between countries, a friendly game between countries, a sports, man. And there's, you know, a lot of people love that sport. It means the world to them. By any means, it means the world. Now imagine you purchasing that ticket with your money just to be detained. The fact that they want to take it that far. How much more do they want to do? How much more damage do they want to, or should I say, how much more justice, quotation marks, do they want to display to the world? Because they think they are the world. They think they are the epitome of what everyone should look up to. It's clearly, it's quite obvious at this point.
Dream big tonight.
And that we need to do better. I can't stand them saying that. We need to do better. Of course, these are people who are I hope anyway, who are seeking a better country or whatever belief they have for that country. But there is no doing better. Some things just have to be put to an end for a new journey to start. This is ridiculous. Doing better? Doing better doesn't wipe away the chaos they've caused, the amount of people they've killed. Blood doesn't just simply wash away. It just makes no sense to do better. It sounds like somebody that used to be an alcoholic, and then they're gonna go through like this path of sobriety. Please, do better. These words are minor.
Exactly.
And I know they're connected to Israel. Is also they're also involved in this, big time. I don't even know.
Oh, you're not wrong, and I think the biggest thing too. You said it's all about money. The countries. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, it. So here's the problem, right? The problem, first of all, it starts minimally about money, right? Yes, it's about the money, but at the end of the day, the problem with someone like I'm playing Magic, Alex. The problem with this country is not even necessarily so much that it's just about money. A lot of it has to do with you know, especially for someone like Trump, it becomes more along the lines of he wants to run this country like a business, and it physically can't be. It can't be run like a business because it's just not. You know, that what? Oh, sorry. I was reading Morgie's chat on Twitch. the he wants to run like a business, and the problem with that is that uh, he has already too many times bankrupted himself. He's already bankrupted, every venture that he's done, and because of that, now he's now put everyone else in a situation where now he's going to turn the same country bankrupt, and he thinks that by doing so, he's actually benefiting everyone around him. But what he doesn't understand is that, and for whatever reason, I don't know why he doesn't understand this or why he thinks that this is going to work. The biggest thing that I have, like, you know, the biggest like issue that I have is that he seems to think that what do you call it? What am I trying to say? He seems to think that the just bear with me 1 second, guys. That this country can be run like a business, and it can't be. It revolves around lots of individuals, lots of businesses, that make up the entire realm of this country, right? And so, majority of people vote felon. Well, the thing is, unfortunately, he was vacated of those felonies, right? So those felonies were considered vacated because he, during the time of him, obtaining those felonies, he was trying to like go back into the presidency, basically. So I guess like you can't technically be, while you're still president, you can't technically be convicted of a felony or something. I forget, because you have like temporary immunity from like any action, right? So that was part of that whole issue there. Now, the other issue with that is the fact that the people who voted for him, and he's openly said this. He's openly said that Republicans are the dumbest group of people he's ever met. And it's true. That's the only smart thing I've ever heard him say, right? But also, at the same time, when he says things like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to put all these tariffs in place, and this and that," I'm not an economist, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out that if you start putting all these tariffs in place, okay, especially when you import majority of the products from China, Russia, Canada, Mexico, right? All of our building materials come from Canada and Mexico. Okay, all of our precious metals come from China, right? You start taxing these people. So now every iPhone that you buy, or every Android phone that you buy that comes from China, where it once cost you, let's say, $700, right, is now going to cost you close to $1,500, and the reason for that is because you have the import tax, right? So when Google pays for those phones to come in, they have to pay on the front end, and then in the back end, we pay on top of that, right? So where if Google has to pay $700 to import that phone, you're going to pay that $1,500, right? Because that's how that works. That's how tariffs work. And that's something that he just doesn't seem to understand. And everyone around him who voted for him, who did X, Y, and Z, also just clearly don't understand. So, and that's more or less the biggest concern that I have regarding this presidency, right? Because things like, for example, eggs. There's not a single fucking reason why I should be paying $10 for 12 eggs. There isn't. Dawson, how much do you pay for eggs over there?
It depends. So
On?
it depends on how many eggs are in the pack.
So 12.
So
Let's say 12.
12 pack would be like £4, 90 pence, or £4.95, depending on which store. We have a Tesco, we have a Spar. Tesco,
Right. So roughly $6.
Express. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's roughly $6 USD. That's what I was trying to say. So apparently the tariffs has to do with countries allowing drugs and stuff. So uh, I mean that doesn't even really make sense at all. Just for the simple fact that like you can't equate one with the other. I mean, when you think about it, right? The drugs coming into the country is one thing, okay? It they come in the country and they yes, I guess technically they do benefit the United States government to a small degree, right? That's how do you think in 2008 Obama bailed out the banks, the big banks? He used drug money, right? And okay, fine. But that has nothing to do with tariffs. Nothing. You know, it's just a really odd situation. You know, and I think that there's a lot of things that are kind of, you know, happening that we just have no explanation for at this point. It will come in regard. Yeah, I mean, like, okay, I'll use this as an example, right? So I don't know if you guys, those who are just joining, I don't know how many of you guys actually watch the news. So recently, actually, as of I think it was yesterday or the day before, um, Spain just uncovered what was it like 50 pounds or like 50 tons of fucking heroin or cocaine or whatever it was in um in salt, like the salt you use for like you know for like chemicals and stuff, right? And so like it'll come regardless. Drugs are just gonna happen, you know, and it's not something that we can control, right? There's no matter what, if there's a will, there's a way, is basically the way I like to look at it, right? And so you're absolutely right, Brandon. It doesn't make a difference whether, you know, whether or not somebody is banning the drugs. They're going to find its way in, no matter what. And I just you know that's the kind of thing that like you know I think that we should really like be focusing on, not necessarily that like you know there are drugs because they're never going to go away, but what can we do to kind of eliminate the need for them, you know? And then the other part of that I always find interesting is drug companies, right? You know, one of the things he said is, you know, he's going to lower drug companies by making Europe lower the cost of their drugs to make our drugs lower. That makes no fucking sense. I don't care like what anybody says. That makes literally no fucking sense. I just don't think this guy is educated. No different than the wall they freaking build tunnels underneath. But you know the thing is, like we've always kind of had a wall of sorts, more like a fence. But I think actually there was a wall at some point. But yes, you're right. They actually built tunnels into a lot of the rock faces to kind of. It's how the coyotes get people across. You know, is they avoid you know that kind of they avoid like border patrol and all that kind of stuff. They watch you know when they're coming, what their like routines are, because they don't change their routines ever, right? So they just constantly have like the same routine over and over again, and so they're able to you know make those kind of adjustments. Now that being said, I think that no matter what, even if Trump got away with building a wall that supposedly Mexico was going to pay for, which I didn't fucking understand, even if they built a wall, they're going to go right through it. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference. You know? Well, guys, when I tell you this country is beyond its issues right now. There are a lot of problems that are very easy to fix. Very easy to fix. and it has to do with removing this president, right? And it's not so much that we are incapable of getting back to where we were, even like with president like Obama in office. Okay, he under his thing, we did have a great presidency. We did a lot of stuff, a lot of good for this country, and I think that this is one of the things that people fail to understand. One of the things that Brandon, you talked about earlier about money. I don't know how much you pay attention to the news, but one of the things that was really, really deeply concerning is the fact that during Trump's first presidency, he said that, the economy was so bad under Obama and this and that. It actually wasn't. It was actually really good. In fact, the national debt was actually down, I think, almost $1 trillion before Donald Trump took office. And once he took office and during his first presidency, he actually added an additional $8 trillion of debt. Okay. Now, Biden inherited that debt, and then he proceeded to say during his second presidency, so this presidency, he proceeded to say that Biden's economy was the worst ever. Well, whose fault is that? Right? He's already added another, X trillion amount of dollars to our national debt, right? That we're not going to fucking climb out of because we keep fucking over our closest allies. And we keep doing things that are illegal. Right? And so that becomes an entirely different topic altogether. So that's a topic that I don't particularly care to invest in at this moment. Dawson, what you saying, man?
I'm not saying anything. I was gonna go on behalf of what you were talking about, but
Tell me something. Tell me something, fam.
The majority of the things you were talking about are mainly what I would just add on to it, add more information onto it.
Yeah, of course. Feel free. That's the point.
Yes, just screw that place, man. I don't understand why they are the way they are. Because have you noticed that it always revolves around just being harmful towards others? And it doesn't matter what the results are because they have a bigger plan ahead of them. So they would do anything, even if it means eliminating some of their own countrymen and women to achieve whatever goal they have. I don't really have much to share about where I live because a lot of things are just like shoved under the carpet, and some things happen without. Well, if you're a local here, you would know. If you're a true local, you would know the things that happen here. But a lot of things that happen go pushed under the rug. Not to be heard of by people who've got no clue. It's not. You won't really hear it much on the news unless it's big.
Yeah.
It could be big, but it could be it could be treated as a secret. Like let's just shove this here and never speak about it again. Like that kind of treatment. I hope hopefully you understand what I mean.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Completely. And more to your point, I think that the other thing that and actually Brandon just actually kind of mentioned this. One of the things there's more to your point is like, even over there, you guys have unified healthcare, right? You guys can basically see a doctor for anything. Canada has similar healthcare. Obviously, if you want like premium stuff, you have to pay. I'm assuming, correct?
Darren, you work at the hospital.
For private healthcare, you'd pay.
Right, but you guys have generalized public healthcare, correct?
free public healthcare. Yes, they do, but it's going to shit purposely by the government.
Well, okay, so fair enough. But
So
more to my point, and kind of more to what Brandon was saying is like, when Obama was president, yes, he enacted what's called Obamacare, which allowed people to make to get affordable health care if they couldn't afford big private healthcare firms, which is incredible, right? That's something we've never had in the history of the United States. So that was something that got approved, and it helped so many people. And he's right, you know. But now with Trump in office, he just voted to eliminate that, and I think that does more harm, not just to Americans or just people in general, but it does harm to the healthcare system. Now, as somebody who's in the healthcare industry, like because you're saying that free healthcare is going down, does it make your job harder as a healthcare worker?
what else? What for? Sorry.
No, I'm saying like with the deterioration of public healthcare, as a healthcare worker, does it make your job harder?
It doesn't make your job harder as a healthcare worker. It just makes public healthcare not
Darren,
as reliable
Darren,
as it should.
hold on, Darren.
You're
Sorry,
cutting out.
cutting out, buddy.
Yeah.
60 seconds.
What I mean to say is, for example, right,
Is that
when people
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
have no are losing access to healthcare, they're less likely to come in and seek care for issues because they can't afford it. Now, because of that, obviously that makes it much more difficult for hospitals and doctors' offices to afford you know paying for the supplies they need because they're not getting the reimbursement from these insurance companies or even like public insurance. Does that make your job harder as a healthcare professional because of that lack of uh, public access?
No, you'd still be doing the same job. You'd be a
Well,
lot busier, like, especially if you're nursing and doctors, because there'd be a higher influx in people using the service. That'll be the only thing, but I don't see how it'll change your job.
well, the reason why I asked that question is because, like I said, like if so, for example, right? Let's say 50 people, right? That were utilizing like the free public health care. All of a sudden, they lost access to it, which means in turn they're not going to be going to seek treatment or get medication for whatever it is, right? Say for example they have cancer and they need cancer medication that would be typically covered by this health insurance. Now you start seeing more and more people with uh, progressive problems because they were never able to take care of it because they just don't have the money. That's why I was asking that. Does that necessarily impact you as a professional because you're seeing less and less people? And I understand what you're saying. Like no, it doesn't because you're still gonna get people with private insurance. But at the same token, the people with the private insurance aren't necessarily going to be uh, there all the time, if that makes sense, right? So you're going to have people who are in the lower income, lower to middle income, going to be more. They're typically in a little
More
bit
people
worse
are at
health.
that bracket.
Yeah, but also they're also
There's a
in
higher percentage base to take out of that. There's more of a pool. If you're talking about
right.
like high class, middle class, lower class, there's obviously a bigger pool of lower class than a slightly bigger or slightly smaller pool of middle class, and then there's a very much lower class of higher class,
Exactly.
and those in higher class are going to be less likely to be coming in with issues that
Right.
may
Exactly.
affect
So that's why I was asking
their
that question.
operating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So I think that's
it'll just be
especially here in the states. I know like the vast majority of people here, like in the states, for example, like a lot of them are either children or elderly, right? And or not necessarily elderly, but older, if you would. And I think that that's something that like you have to kind of like take into consideration as well too, because when you look at like the healthcare system in general, it's already kind of fragmented, and I don't just mean here domestically. I mean like as a global like thing. It's already kind of a fragmented system because you have such discrepancies between, you know, the different classes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My father's a veteran. He goes through the VA, and Trump fired lots of people, so he has to wait. Yeah, I mean that's something that like I think that I'm gonna say my own piece on that afterwards. I think that that's something that I want to touch on anyways. Brandon, I have my own opinions on um, the VA and veterans in general. Not negative about the people, but just about that whole system in general. I think the United States is like the worst when it comes to um, veteran protection and you know, taking care of the veterans. I think that we do a absolute shit job of protecting veterans. Uh, we have the highest concentration of homeless veterans than anywhere else in the world. Um, and it man, I can't even get started on it. Like I live in a place where we have a significant amount of homeless veterans, but nothing's compared to like you know, California, um, you know, or Seattle. Seattle has a significantly higher population of homeless people. Now, when it comes to like the VA itself, um, the fact that you have to be classified in order to uh, even get the disability, to me that boggles my mind, right? Otherwise, if you're not like at a certain threshold, you don't even qualify. That to me is already fucking wrong. If you serve this country, you should have like lifetime benefits, not benefits that end once your service is stopped. That to me is bullshit. Robbie, welcome back. You know what I mean? I find that I don't know how like how's veteran services over there? How do your are your veterans treated over there, Dawson?
Talk on my understanding of the whole veteran thing, and then if I'm wrong, Darren will say no, you're wrong, because Darren is from here. So
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't met a veteran from Ireland really, because what occurred here in the past is very different compared to, you know, each country has its own history, that kind of thing. And over here, when people fought, they were like, from from what I picked up, it's local people who are fed up with the treatment that the government was giving them. It was like a one-sided story. You know,
Yep.
one side was favored and the other was treated like tarnish, like nothing. They didn't matter. So the side that didn't matter got so fed up, they became one united like um, organization. I don't want to put the names out there, but they became one organization, and they started becoming ruthless towards the other side to make a point. And it did spiral out of control, because instead of that stopping, instead of that becoming something better, or the government saying, all right, this is these people are right, let's not do this anymore, let's try to be one civilized country, let me put it
Right.
that way. It
Yeah.
didn't happen that way. So the other side, which was already favored by the government, treatment-wise and everything, they retaliated in their own way. So it just, a war broke out for years upon years. So basically, one side was trying to fight for their country. This is their home, man. This is their home. And more people, a lot of people joined, became part of this one unit. And yeah, it just, up until like the 90s, I think it was like a ceasefire thing. I don't know how it worked out. They made both parties came to an agreement. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to build peace walls to separate our communities, so that there won't be any issues. And
Yeah.
plus, there's differences in flags and whatnot, different belief systems, you know. So things like that were set in place. But yeah, I don't, it's a time I was never there for. These are just stories, and I watched a couple of clips about people explaining what happened. So
Right.
when you ask me about a veteran, I don't really know any veterans as such that were part military. I do believe there were veterans that were from the English side that now live here who are older, like they were part British battalions, whatever they call them, who are now older and they live here. But that's about it. It's it's not as it's simple but yet complicated. I'll keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the
Yeah.
so basically what I'm trying to ask, I guess maybe Darren would be more suited to answer this.
Darren, was I
Like,
good? Darren, was my answer okay?
Yeah,
he's like,
that's
no, it's
probably
just shit,
the
mate.
easiest way you could touch on the subject.
That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Thank
in
you.
general, like so what do you
It's a
have
long
like
time
for
to
healthcare system like for veterans?
Darren,
we don't have veterans. So we
it
don't
does
have
not
a healthcare
exist.
system.
Yeah,
You don't have any veteran services? Okay.
No.
Nope. They would be arrested.
Yeah, cuz like I mean,
Yeah.
they like I said, we have like very like minimal uh, okay, so we have some veteran services, but like one of the things that like they really, they claim, oh yeah, you'll get, you'll get some a disability check if you lose a limb or blah blah blah. You'll get like, depending on how disabled you are, right? Let's say you get like $1,000 a month. You can't afford anything living for $1,000 a month. There's no apartment or accommodation unless you're sharing it an accommodation with X amount of people where you're all splitting the rent equally. There's no real accommodation for people like that. And then most of the time they're not ADA compliant, which means American Disabilities Act. Um, they're not like necessarily wheelchair accessible or whatever. Sometimes they can get you into like public housing, but those wait lists are 10 plus years long because everyone's trying to get in there because nothing's affordable, right? Like I'll just use for where I live, for example. I live in an apartment. It's $3,000, well, $3,800 a month, and that's a 3 bedroom. Okay, that's like if you're getting $1,000 a month in disability, there's no way in hell you're covering that. You know what I mean? And then on
Yeah.
top of that, they say things like, oh well, uh, everyone who's a veteran is just like a drug addict and blah blah blah. It's like there's like a lot of things that they say that are like it just doesn't fit the narrative of the government. So Brandon said they're treated okay in North Carolina, but in New Hampshire, that's where I'm from. When you go to Manchester's back, yeah. So same thing in Massachusetts, Brendan. It's pretty bad as well. Like I said, veteran affairs are very they're there, but they're not designed to help the veterans who need the most. And when you go to get your medical issues covered, or things like mental health exams, or drug drug addiction, whatever's, they don't help you. They make every excuse they can to say, look, we're not going to cover this, or we can't cover this. Like there's a lot of issues here in this country that especially for people who fought for this country. That to me, that's the biggest like concern that I have. I think that that's the biggest fucking bullshit that there ever could be ever said in this country. You've got people who are willing to die for you, and you want to treat them like shit. There's more homeless people per capita in Seattle, Washington, than anywhere else. Just to put that in perspective, by the way. For those of you guys just joining us, welcome in. It's Tuesday, guys, so we're having some conversations that are particularly tougher than most. We got myself, co-host Unraveled, and this other guy, Darren.
best. Simply the best.
He loves ramen, and he loves being weird.
And long walks on the beach.
And long walks on the beach as long as you're holding his hand.
Yep.
Oh man. It's his favorite time of the year, guys. He loves long walks on the beach and making sure everyone's cute. Oh my god, I'm getting fucked over here. Alright, well. Let's see if we can do it like this. So,
Are we
Brandon.
done with the...
What?
Oh.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask him a question.
Go ahead, ask him.
So, Brandon, what would you say some of the biggest issues here, like aside from what's going on with this current administration, that you think that is like important to discuss? I'm getting fucked over on every fucking game here today, guys. Mel, thank you for joining. Hope you're doing well today. I'm getting fucked over on all my decks today. Shit. Let's go. Gotta bring this deck out. Elijah, what's going on? Thank you for joining. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Dawson?
No, I wasn't sure whether you were done talking about. Yeah, but the veteran system here doesn't. Know what I mean? Because the veterans that you're referring to are seen criminals.
They're seen as criminal over there.
Yeah. The criminals, terrorist group. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, like we're more or less talking about, like, so basically, anybody fought and then are yeah,
I know.
and then are come back and basically discarded.
Don't fall for the country over here. Just called terrorists.
They're called
that's what I
terrorists.
mean.
They're called terrorists.
literally
That's
what I
fucking
was
wild. That's actually
Really
fucking
bad out
wild.
there.
No, it's true. It's true. It's no joke.
That's fucking wild, though. I'm not gonna lie, chat. He said that in Ireland that the people who fought for
no, not Ireland side. There are some people, but it's a certain part of Ireland that this happened in. So, just so because you might have viewers from Ireland who would say we're wrong, but
right.
we're referring to a certain part of Ireland. So, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, that's kind of crazy that that's what you guys are saying. So, Brendan, I think you're partially correct in that. I think it's not just the matter of parts of Congress. I mean, yes, Trump in this scenario, Trump is the issue. It's never been seen before for someone to behave like this in office, but it's not just Congress. So that's partially correct. A lot of the issue actually has to do with it actually stems long before even 2026. We're talking about decades ago, even probably longer than that. What actually happened, and I'm not going to tell you this the right way because I think that I'm probably saying it incorrectly. The political parties actually used to be swapped. Democrats used to be considered what the Republicans are now, racist and all for oneself and et cetera, et cetera. They only care about the wealthy and getting rich and blah blah blah. Right. So that used to be what Republicans or Democrats used to be, and so when some key figures during that time, they were originally Democrats, and they actually swapped over to the Republican Party and took all of their followers with them. And somebody from the Republican Party went over to the Democrat Party and took their followers with them. That's how we came with. That's how we became basically what we are today. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for joining. Um, and so, since that time, it is now said that Republicans have been known to be extremely racist, and Democrats have been more for, you know, quality and inclusion for the masses rather than just for the wealthy, like the Republicans are now. So that's first and foremost before I go into my next thing. The other fact is that when it comes to voting, you have two parts of voting. You have the popular vote, which is what we technically vote for, right? We go in and we say, hey, look, we have these issues here. We're going to vote on who we think is going to be the best person to solve it. That's partially okay, right? That instance is fine. That's what democracy is. But when you take a look at what the Electoral College is, now the Electoral College is basically divided up seats in a state's specific territory, and says, look, you're worth X amount, you're worth this amount, you're worth this amount, and they can override the popular vote. But if you notice, 90% of what the Electoral College is a bunch of rich asshole white people who basically have a say in what benefits their pockets. Right, and so that's the real issue. And so when you look at it, right, you look at what exactly is happening, in the last 3 or 4 elections, exactly that. Specifically, the last 3 elections, when you have twice with Donald Trump. So basically, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, and the Electoral College voted for Trump anyways. So same thing with Biden. He didn't win the popular vote, but he did win the popular vote, but the Electoral College didn't vote either way, right? And then in this presidency, Kamala actually won the popular vote, but Trump lost the popular vote, and so the Electoral College still voted him back in. So again, that's the real pressing issue when it comes to acts of Congress and acts of the whole divided party thing. It's not actually an issue until you look at something like that, right? Because that's really where the big issue is the way that we're voting. We can't be a true democracy if no matter how you vote, it's overruled by the government anyways to fit their agenda. So yes, the whole the concept of United States, where we need to unite together. Yes, but that only extends as far as the general public. That doesn't apply to the wealthy and people who think that they're above everyone else. Because I'm going to be honest, right? These politicians, without their political, background, they ain't shit. They wouldn't be doing shit. And that's what a lot of people just don't fucking understand. And you got people like Dean, I forget his last name. It's Dean Winters or Dean Walters or something like that. He's a very good, he's very, very smart when it comes to stuff like this. And I think that he kind of says it the best. He talks a lot of good stuff to Republicans. He makes a lot of great points about, what they believe is to be believed to be correct. And obviously, if you ever haven't seen him before, take a look at him on TikTok or YouTube and stuff like that. So it might be something worth checking out. But I must say, guys, talking about the fucking United States is tiring, man. I'm not gonna lie, I fucking hate this country and how bad it's gotten.
The majority of worldwide topic is about them.
And that's the fucking problem, man. It's always about the states.
Nothing truly interesting to offer about how great they are.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. It's fucking boring, man. Gerardo, thank you for joining. How you doing today? Man. Robbie, how you doing? Lucid, how you doing?
So what's your next topic? You said before you move on to your next topic.
I forget now at this point. Fuck. All right, chat. Let me ask y'all this, okay? Because this is an actual question I really want to know. And I asked this question, just because. If you could live anywhere in this in the world, where are you guys choosing? Where are you choosing, Unraveled? If you're living anywhere.
Japan or South Korea. Yeah, but
Why?
this
What's in South Korea that you find enjoyable? I'm
I
asking out
just
of general knowledge.
I know. I just love how it is over there. There's some form of uniqueness that I can't really explain, but I truly admire how folks are over there. And yeah, but I would only live there if I know I'm capable to live there. I'm not gonna have
Right.
any sort of income issues as much, or whenever that issue comes, I'll be rather than being stuck in a place where I'm completely foreign, you know.
Right. Exactly.
Same goes for Japan. I'm talking about both places. Yeah, I would just live there because I just love it there. That's it. I've never been there.
Yeah.
I would love to go there, you know.
I think for me, it would definitely Japan. Japan's one of my dream locations to live. I absolutely love everything Japanese. Especially from the food aspect. That's my biggest being a chef or being a former chef. Japanese food is one of the things that I've studied a little bit of, but I've never mastered because of how difficult it is. And I would absolutely love to basically go there and just learn and study and learn history, and because I'm a huge history buff. History, food, language, when it comes to just education in general, I'm a huge proponent for education and being having the knowledge to share with other people, which is kind of why we do in this platform here is we have knowledge to speak about, and so I think that for me that's kind of one of the biggest things that I want to do. So that and what do you call it? What's the other place? Switzerland. Switzerland's another place that I would love to go. I absolutely love Switzerland. I think it's such a beautiful location, and I could absolutely see myself going there, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see, what are we saying, chat? Void, welcome back. Brandon, you go to Berlin. You got family there. You go there for beer and pork. Yeah, see, the thing is, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't eat pork like that anymore. Um, pork is probably the dirtiest meat you could eat. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Between what they feed the animal and the actual meat itself is extremely dirty. They're pigs themselves are actually extremely susceptible to all kinds of different worms and other disease and bacteria and stuff. That's why I don't eat pork anymore. Just sorry to burst your bubble if you really like it, but I want to provide you with that information. And they have nice castles. Yes, they do have nice castles. In fact, that's one of the biggest reasons why I would love to even live in anywhere in Europe really. I love architecture. That's something that's really underappreciated, and not like a lot of people don't really look at it like that. There are people that do. They definitely do look at architecture and stuff like that, but I think that there's a underappreciation for different types of architecture. So I think that's something that people could really look at and you know uh, learn to appreciate. Dawson, what you saying, fam?
About what?
About anything, really, like living in these countries,
No, man. I live in
No, I'm
Belfast.
saying like, no,
Oh, what?
I'm saying like,
Oh,
what is your
living here?
yeah, like moving to like different locations, what is the biggest thing like you would look forward to in like the country that you're like trying to move to? Because like you were saying South Korea, like if I ever lived in South Korea, I would say this for example for myself, right? If I ever lived in South Korea, one of the things that I've really like learned about like recently is that like they really take care of the people, like the citizens and stuff like that. For example, the kids, you go to school and you get all these different like you get these like massive meals. They feed you properly. You go to an office, they feed you properly, right? You're not just going like, oh yeah, you got to spend all X, Y, and Z money to bring school lunch and lunch to work and all this kind of you know what I mean. It's like that's for me like that. I respect that.
Yeah,
That's something I really like about that country.
of course. Yeah.
So
No, I know that. That's what I was including when I said I like how things are over there, how
yeah.
they operate. There's a form of simplicity that basically common sense. You know, you work for certain companies, and if you're gonna work a lot, that they should value your time and effort. Which, if you don't look after your people that work for you, it's just not gonna end well, is it?
Exactly.
It just won't. For the most part, it won't. People
So,
are gonna quit
go
their
ahead.
job, try to find another one, and try to find a better, more handy job. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. Brandon said his second is Australia. Nah, I couldn't. What you saying about Australia? Would you move there?
Australia's like back home. I would move there, yeah, easy.
See, to me, okay, like I don't mind the heat. I don't care about like how like the weather is. My thing is this, right? I'm not moving to fucking Australia just for the simple fact that I don't want to wake up every fucking morning and just see like
Yeah,
millions of spiders in my front yard. I'm good.
that's what I was trying to say. I live in this kind of environment, so
Yeah. I'm just good. I love the heat, but I'm gonna burn it down. I'm gonna burn down the fucking whole. I'm gonna burn down all of Australia. You know what I mean? Like obviously I'd live somewhere like the city or whatever. I would live, somewhere that's gonna be kind of you know, a little bit more like urbanized. But you're not catching me out in the fucking countryside. It's not happening. Not that I'm afraid of spiders. I don't like them. I just think they're fucking annoying. Are they good for the environment? Yes. But do I want to, walk outside and, see 500 pounds of web all over my car when I'm trying to go somewhere? Nah. Nah, you now own the car. The spider now owns the car. You can also have my house. You can move in as long as you pay the rent. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just.
yeah, we hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh shit.
We didn't ask Darren though. We didn't ask Darren.
Do we ever ask Darren anything?
Yeah. Darren, where would you like to live someday, if the opportunity was granted? Some deep thought, Jesus.
Antarctica? Is Antarctica an option?
No.
Yeah.
It's not it's not legally inhabitable. Like I don't think you can legally you can legally live there. I think it's one of those protected, like international like areas because of it's designated for research only.
Okay, I'll go over and start researching shit.
I'm just gonna look at each individual follicle of snow. I'm gonna I'm gonna count all the snow in Antarctica, and that's my research.
I'll be far the fuck away from everything. That wouldn't matter.
I hear that, man. I hear that.
I wouldn't mind her. Talk.
Sweden? Maybe Sweden.
Sweden, nice, good choice.
Yeah.
That is a good choice, fam.
Every evening in Sweden.
You know, I actually, you know where I wouldn't mind living though, either is the place in the world that never sees like nighttime. That would be kind of cool because then it would basically be like, you know, dusk and then daytime. I mean, yeah, it would kind of probably get annoying at first because like, you know, you're trying to sleep, but I feel like it would be a nice place to live. I forget what it's called. I don't know if you guys know what it's called off the top of your head.
No
A
clue.
place where the sun never.
thought it was
Okay,
a
I gotta
different
look it
one.
up. No, I don't know if it's that would drive you crazy. You need a little dark. Yeah, I mean that's why I was saying. I don't think it's like I don't think it's completely. It's definitely not completely dark, but let me see if we can find it. Uh, it's in Norway. I think it's called. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's in Norway. It's called Lofoten Islands. They have
Floating
24
Islands?
hour. Yeah, they have 24 hours of daylight.
Okay. That's cute.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess there's other places in the world that like also have like midnight sun. So, uh, Nordkap, Norway. So basically North Cape, Norway, Alaska, Nunavut in Canada, Greenland and Iceland, and then Russia. See, Austin, I'm surprised you didn't say Russia.
Someday. It's in my thoughts, man. Germany, Russia. I want to go to these places, of
See,
course.
I would definitely visit Germany. I would love to visit Germany. And I don't think I could live there. But I could
Me
definitely, I.
spending time with the Fraulein, my beautiful Fraulein.
No, I was just what I mean. The reason why I say that, not because I have any like disdain for you know Germany or you know the people. I just think that it just wouldn't be a place that I would want to live. I would definitely visit more for like the historian in me. I think that's more like what
Wait,
I'm.
wait, which version of Germany? Before the our recent, well, their recent experience,
No, no,
or
I'm saying in
after that,
general,
or the
I
uprise
would.
of that?
No, I'm saying just the history of Germany in general. Like to
Okay,
me,
so
I would go there to visit just to like study and to, you know, check out landmarks and, you know, like learn about what it was like. Not that I haven't seen like numerous videos or, you know, read multiple books about, you know, World War II Germany, but learning
that's
in
what I mean.
person,
Is that where you
yeah.
start from, or are you gonna go before? Are you gonna go
I mean,
like
I
before
think
that
you'd
part of
have to
history?
start. I think you have to start post World War One to really
Yeah.
capture the full magnitude of everything that went on in Germany, because it didn't just start with the Nazi regime. It started off when he became the Supreme Chancellor. Prior to that,
It's what he was fed too, mentally.
yeah,
What he believed. What, you know.
exactly.
Uh,
And that's
I'm
the
gonna say
historian in
this
me.
now. I'm gonna say this. A lot of people need to stop making it seem like Hitler is a devil himself. Like there were people before him, much that have done things on this planet that are unspoken of. So this whole thing is, oh, Hitler, that I don't care what you think. It's just not. It just doesn't make sense.
I think
There's
you
been
upset
much
Darren.
worse people. There's been much worse people.
Darren's a true supporter. That's why he left.
Yeah, he left to report me in and then came back. Did I leave? Yeah, it said you
No,
left. Yeah.
I think that they like
Shit.
what people fail to remember, and in this, like, in particular, it's mostly like with this current like generation is like, just like you said, there are people who, like, did, worse things. Now, like, they briefly talk about it when you go through, like, history and, like, whatever. So, like, you look at, like, um you
Hitler
know
this, Hitler that, all the
no,
time.
I'm saying even before Hitler, like Victorian era, like, people, Genghis Khan. You look at, like, King Louis, and what he did in France, and, like, like, there's a whole bunch of, like, shit that people just don't really like, or don't realize, or don't pay attention to, that are, like, you know part of the issue. And they always just say the same shit. Oh yeah, he's the worst. I'm like, no, are you sure about that? Because, I mean, look at what happened. When the British tried to colonize Africa, how many people were slaughtered? We don't talk about that.
Of course we don't.
Or when British took over Australia, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm playing devil's advocate here, obviously, but, like,
No,
it.
you're telling the truth. Look, do you know? You remember when the audacity of the British? I would say the audacity of the British when Brazil. Um, let's break. It's Brazil, Russia, is it Ireland? India, yeah, India, China, South Africa, or some, yeah. Anyway, the audacity of the journalists to go to South Africa, question the people, or the current president of that country,
Yeah.
why he chose to align with Russia, because he fucking can. If he, all right, you see fit of what works. They come here and then they're gonna say, "Don't you know he's such a terrible person?" This was during, like, the high tide of the Ukraine war and Russia.
Yeah.
The nerve of you leaving your country, question what another country does for it, clearly seeing its benefit by aligning with another country, like contribution-wise, contributing with one another, basically not going around and like forcefully taking your United States. I'm just gonna put it there, going into another country and forcefully taking what's not yours, and then claiming
Right.
it as yours.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure if you are a president of a country and you truly want the best for that country, you will do. But it's, of course, it has to be a genuine path, not a path to where it's going to lead to put people in harm's way.
Well, like
No
Brendan just said, all
sacrifices.
bad people do good things for people at one point or another. It's wrong, not wrong.
Yeah,
Not wrong.
but yeah, no. My point is, travel to South Africa to question the president there. The fuck do you think you are? Like, what is this need for questioning? Because if they did that, they wouldn't be questioned. If England
Oh,
did that, they
exactly.
wouldn't be questioned. But now you have to go question a country which you deem probably beneath you. So you've got the right to question them. Why they made a choice for the sake of their own country. It doesn't even affect them in any way. But somehow they've got the nerve to go there and question them. But if history has to be brought up about what the things their ancestors did, oh, it's a whole story. It's ridiculous. Fucking pathetic.
Exactly. What was the other place you said you wanted to live?
Me?
Yeah.
I said Russia, Germany.
No, no, you
Oh,
said before.
no,
Well,
no, no.
before you said
Live Japan, and Korea.
yeah. Okay.
Korea.
South Korea. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to live in Korea, my friend. Japan, it's pretty nice, but Korea is
No,
I
not
said
North
what I
Korea.
said.
South Korea.
I didn't say north. Yeah, I did say
No,
south.
because South Korea is really nice. North Korea is not.
Yeah, but that's a tough situation. Korean one. It's a tough one, man.
Yeah, yeah.
oh flip it. Need for Speed Unbound is free.
That's nice.
Didn't Call of Duty take the similar path when they realized their game wasn't really advancing?
Their game wasn't
Anyway.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that's where those are the two places conquest. Why do
Yeah,
you ask again?
No, no, it's just part of the conversation that we were just having, about like, where would we, like to live to, kind of put ourselves in a position that's, you know, be beneficial.
I don't know about beneficial, but this is why I stated it's more of a I would like to, because it's a place I admire, and I wouldn't live there if I'm not financially secure. If that makes
Well,
sense.
right. That's the
I
biggest.
have to be financially secure. I have to be very confident and know that I am, because I wouldn't just go in there blindly and say I'm gonna go discover myself in a whole different country, whether I have a good amount of income or not. I'm not a college student. They say that.
No, I was just
I'm
gonna say a
find
college
myself.
student, a
Yeah,
little
they
white
say
girl.
that. It's like, you're gonna go find yourself. I didn't know you were like 3,000 miles across.
Were
the
you
globe.
fucking lost?
That's where you are.
Fuck. Did you lose yourself along the way? Fuck.
Did more than lose themselves. They were never there.
Yeah, but I think the other thing too, like, I think if I'm going to move to other countries, like, it would have to be, so I would have to purchase my own property. Like, I wouldn't go to one of these countries to like rent something. That's not something that I would do.
You'd have to.
Like, I'd have. Yeah, because I mean, like, I'm looking, like, especially like where a lot of these countries are like paying people to like live in like the country, and they're trying to make it so, like, they're trying to revitalize a lot of these countries. I think that to me is like more attractive than, just going somewhere and just saying like, look, I'm just gonna move here for the sake of moving here. No, if I'm gonna move there, it's gonna a to be to benefit, like, not only myself but also like to benefit the country that I'm moving in. Like, me moving to a place that they're like paying me to move to in order to like revitalize that location. Like, to me, like, that means a lot more. You know what I mean?
Hey, how about we move to Finland or Latvia?
Nah, you're good, fam. You're good.
They're paying people to go move there, and they're giving them properties.
Well, a lot of those moving places, they require you to. I think it's because I remember looking into a couple places, like that might just be the place I looked into, but a lot of them require you to buy a home that you can fix up within, I think it's like year's time, and then what they do is they from there they have you they reimburse you over like X period of time or something like that.
Well, from what I was reading, Finland and Latvia are having less population for men, and their women, like, basically they're more populated with women, and they're complaining that they have no men in the area and stuff like that, and they're starting to pay people, and like, encourage people to start moving there.
You see, one thing I will say, I understand the government strategy here.
Yeah.
But the woman herself has to like you. It can't just be
Yeah.
desperation.
It's not that. So they're encouraging people to go there, and then of course once you find a woman that you like, of course click and everything click together, and she likes you, you like her, da 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 da. Of course, once you get married or get together and stuff, of course you get the citizenship and stuff.
I
at the
think that
cost of the
that's
government.
I think that's fucking bullshit. The reason why I say that it's bullshit is not like Dawson just said. Like the person has to like you, right? It's the problem with like that ideology is that in general women tend to have a mindset of look, I'm more like indispensable than a man is, right? Because let's be honest, everybody loves women. Women love women. Men love women. Okay. Men, on the other hand, are very dispensable. It doesn't matter if we're loved or not. We're expected to
Yeah.
to
Hmm.
do the exact same thing regardless of whether or not we're cared for.
Hmm.
So, like to me, to move to a place where they're like, oh yeah, with X, Y, and Z, uh, find a woman, this and that, blah blah blah. I think it's kind of bullshit. Just saying.
Now, the thing is, to be honest, I don't know if you've ever been out of the country to a different like country. The women in other countries, especially like these type of country like Finland, Latvia, like these
Yeah,
European countries,
they are
they
more
are,
genuine and
oh
straightforward.
bro, they
Yeah,
are
yeah,
raised
yeah.
way different than women over here. They respect the word man. They genuinely respect what a man does and what a man brings to the table. Unlike a lot of women over here in the USA, they're like, oh, I don't care. I could do these things on my own.
I'm
But
special. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
But
not disagreeing with you. Yeah.
there, it's more like like they know where the man's place is in a relationship.
Do you know
No, I
one
just.
one thing
Oh God.
Mm.
go ahead, Lord Conquest.
No, you're good.
Mhm.
Speak.
I was gonna say one thing I've noticed when it comes to mainly the United States, right? I know you've got a lot of people watching it that are from there. I don't want them to think I'm bashing this country. In some
We
way,
are.
I am. I'm bashing it from
No,
the
we are.
standpoint of what I'm seeing. Okay, I'm bashing it. Hammer,
Okay.
axe, bazooka, everything.
He's
Just guys,
just-
launch it all in there. Tarnish the building. Don't let it stand. Um, it's the way they behave, man. And it seems like now, if you notice, there's a lot of podcasts going talking about what a man is, what a woman is. The fact that it's come to that point of stupidity, we have to have a discussion about something that's naturally given. It's just something that should be natural. It shouldn't be discussed over. We've got so many much more imperative things to discuss about the world. But this is what they're talking about on podcasts.
Mhm.
This is the information that they're conveying, and a lot of the women, certain type of women and guys, want to talk about their feelings and make their feelings seem factual,
Fucking feelings, bro.
trying to tarnish reality or some form of logic. I'm seeing this, man. I would scroll through TikTok. 1 out of 10 videos, that's gonna come up. That subject always comes up. And the fact that this becomes an argument because someone refuses to believe that there's the actual truth, and there's my feelings are the
Uh,
truth.
Real quick, Brendan
You
said.
know?
Brendan said, "Screw the feelings."
Yeah, no, I know. No, I've got this. The first thing you touched upon on today's subject was a woman getting shot, right? But I'm telling you, the prioritized part will be this subject that I'm mentioning. That's more serious. Like what you mentioned at first, someone killed will be
Absolutely.
seen as just another day eventually. Oh, she died. I know. There will be people seeking justice endlessly. Doesn't matter. But that's more imperative than someone crying about their feelings and what the truth is. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think the other thing too is like our priorities, like especially with this younger generation, the priorities that we have, as a generation. And I'm not saying we as in me, because I'm obviously not this generation of fucking idiots. Um, the priorities that this generation who are are entering adulthood, um, they're so hyper focused on gender this, gender that, and am I a him or a him, her, they, them, like all this shit. And I'm not knocking anyone's preferences. I don't give a fuck.
No,
Call yourself what
no,
you want.
no. This is
No, I'm
ridiculous,
saying.
though.
I'm saying I don't, call yourself what the fuck you want. Like that's your own thing. You gotta fucking deal with that shit. You gotta deal with like stuff that people, you know what I mean? Like to me, it doesn't impact me nearly as much as you think it does, right? I don't give a fuck. I could give a rat's ass. And that being said, a lot of what I was saying before, to Kidori is like, yes, obviously, like women here in the States are different, and like they're not, like the ones, abroad. I'm not disputing that one bit. The reason why I said what I said is because in general, women typically are viewed as more of the commodity than a man is. And when I say that is because like as a man, um, you know, you go through things that a woman wouldn't go through, right? You bear more of a burden on your shoulders. You're expected to, provide more. You're expected to, be the primary caretaker in terms of like, financially. You're expected to, pay for everything. You're expected to, do X, Y, and Z. And then at the end of the day, does anybody care if you are doing well? If you're fine? No, they don't. And so like that's why I was saying what I was saying. It wasn't necessarily that like US women are, better or worse than anywhere else. It's just something that I've noticed that in general women are more viewed as a commodity because everyone wants to date a woman, if that makes sense. No one
It
gives a
does
shit
make
about
sense.
the men. No one gives a shit about the men. It's the same thing with like I use myself as an example. I'm a single father. I have full custody of my kids. In the dating pool, I've been single for 6.5 years. Part of it's by choice. Part of it's because I'm gonna be honest. You look at a single dad. There's either one of two things, right? You either don't take care of your kids, or you know you're only there when you're
Yeah,
allowed to be.
there's already a stigma in place.
Right, there's
Yeah.
already a stigma. But when you have a single dad who has full custody of their kids, and then you look at what exactly is going on in terms of within, like for example, my life, right? And they look at it and it's like, wow, you're a single dad. Like, how is that even possible? And it's like, well, okay, it's not impossible. It happens, far more often than you think it does. But at the end of the day, a single mother is 5 times more likely to get into a relationship than a single father. And that's just the fact. So when I say what I say, it's I'm not just saying the talk out of my ass. I'm saying because there's like some legitimacy to it, and I think that it's bullshit because at the end of the day, when we sit there and we get pissed off and we lash out and we get upset and we start yelling and screaming, we're the problem.
No, you're abusive, and you'll be
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're the
reported to
problem.
the police. You're not
Exactly.
supposed
Right.
to show any signs of frustration, anger, yeah, common stupidity. Yeah, yeah. Because you're some kind of machine. You function on fuel. So.
Right. So you said considering as a male that deal with male things. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And then you said nobody needs a woman in life as a young man like me. I'm focused on me right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the reason why I said what I said about yeah, yes, you don't really need a woman, but I think the thing is like everybody wants companionship, wants to be with somebody, wants to connect with somebody, right? Because like I'm gonna be honest, as an adult, right, as a grown man, I love my kids dearly. I have my kids every day of the week. There's no vacation time, no break for me. Sometimes, and I'm going to use this very loosely, so it doesn't make it seem like I don't like being around my kids. That's not the case. I love my kids to death. Sometimes as a adult, I need adult companionship. Meaning, I do wish that I had somebody in my life. Do I need them in my life? Absolutely fucking not. It's a lot fucking cheaper that way. Absolutely. But like I said, there comes a point in time where when you look at it, it's you know it's just a feeling that you need somebody there, you want somebody there, just to be able to like kind of you know take care of like uh, just what like basically what you're going through, helping you out through life, and you know if they have kids too, great. That means you guys can get along together. You guys can raise your kids together. Fantastic, right? But that's why I was saying that, because I think that you know and yes, Brandon, like you said, in your young age, yeah, absolutely, that like that's a different story. You're young, focus on yourself, make that money, get a job that you really love, build a business that you really love. I'm in my 30s, so I'm not much older than you, but I'm probably older than you. And so like I found out too late for myself that what I want in life. But now I'm pursuing that, right? So that's kind of why I was saying like yeah, you don't necessarily need it, but at the end of the day, like it's beneficial to you to have somebody when you go through life's struggles.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say that. Yeah. Because it makes no sense for you to be alone from the start until the end. It's ridiculous. What kind of apart from what you've achieved for yourself, what have you shared with someone else? Like what?
Shared exactly. Yep.
I think those moments are really important. They're really important.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
something you should look down upon. At some point, see, your achievements have got nothing to do with the next person. That is yours. That's your achievements, basically. If you are educated, your education is yours. No one can. It's your achievement, and you can continue to aspire who you want to be and what you want to achieve, and still be with somebody. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Still have a path continue. That it's as simple as that. But if they're there to drain you, make heart, I suggest shotgun, 2 pumps in the chest, drop it in the sea.
He's kidding, Chad. Obviously, he's obviously kidding.
Oh,
Or is
but
he?
yeah. Oh, you figured it out, huh?
Guys.
You figured it out.
No, but you're right, and that's kind of what I was gonna say to you, Brandon. Is like, yeah, you're young now, but I think the thing that you really gotta like remember is like just like Unraveled said, you know, being able to share just anything, like no matter what it is, even if you don't think they'll listen, like I think the biggest thing too, like for example, I'll use myself for example, right? I just recently went back to school, not last year, the year before, I think. Not yeah, 2 years ago, right? I went back to school and I graduated in school, right? So basically, I was able to achieve that. Do I have anybody to share it with? No. I mean, yeah, like my friends know, and obviously my kids know, my family knows. But that only helps so far. Like that only gets me, so far, right? Like it doesn't feel the same without somebody to share in that, uh, you know, in that achievement with you, because family's always going to be family regardless, even if they might not necessarily support you in like other ventures. But at the end of the day, they're still going to be family, and they'll be like, yeah, even if they bullshit it, you know what I mean, they're still going to be there to support you. Kind of like that, the whole fake it till you make it thing, right? And so I think exactly what Dawson said, that the most important thing is just having somebody that can just put something there in front of you and say, look, I got you, right? It's hard to come by, of course, especially nowadays, but it is important to know that, like, no matter what, having somebody in your corner is going to be like the best feeling in the world. Daniel, thank you for joining. Kaduri. What you saying, fam?
I'll let you know. It is genuinely, from what I've noticed, it is like a lot of women that's like, well, majority. I don't, it's very very hard. It's like a very narrow aspect. There's women that know their place. There's women that know and how to, they know what they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, with all what's going on in social media and all what's being, all this
Trend.
propaganda, all these trends, exactly. The
These trans, is
celebrities,
that what you said?
these
Trend.
trend.
Okay. I was
These
just making sure, because.
celebrities and no. This like the celebrity and the women celebrity and what they project out towards other women.
Mm-hmm.
You have this thing that's like stuck in a lot of these women's mind where like they're like, I want to be like that. You know what I mean? And they're like, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy life. And then by the time they're like 35 or so, then they want to settle down. But then guess
They're
what?
fucking ran
All,
through.
at that time, exactly. So at the time, it's like all these men out there. They're like, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Exactly.
So it's just, it's just very crazy, man.
But another thing too that also like to kind of push into what you were just saying, uh,
Hmm.
what was that, like Dawson was saying about like the whole social media thing, and like you were saying about the celebrity, a
Hmm.
lot of that kind of has to do with like, I'm not against the whole independent women thing. Like I think that's fantastic. If you
Hmm.
want to like get your own money, great, get your own fucking money. Stop asking me to pay for everything. Right? Like be
The
independent.
thing
Like
is,
it can't be it's not a
no,
two-way fucking street, right? I mean a one-way street. Like you can't say I want to get my own money, but then require like expect me to pay for everything.
listen.
It don't
The, the,
work
the
that way.
independent thing, the independent thing, it goes so far. It only goes so far. Let me ask you a question. You see, what I mean, you got an outlet and you got a socket. Does an outlet work by itself? No.
No,
It needs a
absolutely not.
socket. It needs you know what I mean, it needs something. There's always two things in life. There's the clouds, they have rain. You know what I mean, like water turns into what,
Juan, thank you
like
for joining.
there's so many things. That the aspect of life is
This
just
is
so crazy,
balance.
man.
This is just
Exactly.
simply balance.
It's
Yeah.
like it's just the thing is of like wanting to live, like, oh, I could do it on my own. I mean, I'm independent. That only goes so far. There's things that you need someone there to help you with. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people here, from what I noticed here in the state, they just don't understand and they just don't get. They're like, I'm independent. I want to go do things on my own. No, I mean, hey, kudos to you. You know what I mean? There's certain things that you could be independent on, but there's a lot of things that you cannot be independent on. You need somebody there for you. So it's just, it's very crazy, man.
You see, here's the thing too, Dory and Conquest.
Mhm.
They want to be congratulated, or they expect to be congratulated for doing what a guy does, or being able to be a grown adult. Being congratulated to be an adult. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? You find a
Yeah,
job,
yeah.
sure, good for you. You found a job, so did I. But there's a difference between our worlds as genders. You live with expectations. I live with striving to achieve. And then perhaps expectations in the end, depending on how far I get. Expectations and then given, sometimes not given. But eventually, it is a tad bit easier on the other side than it would be on our side. And
Right.
what would make it a lot more easier for us guys is connections. Depending on who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. This thing, it goes a long way. If you want to get into some form of business and know certain people, and they personally know you, and could amplify what you want to achieve. But without knowing anyone, road is like spiky, and you gotta walk through. You have to walk on each and every spike until you like that's when it starts to get smooth up ahead. That's good effort and sheer will and hard work.
Are you
Yeah.
spicy?
No, stop that.
Well, I think you're right, and I think that it's always like I said, like, it has to do with like they want them to be congratulated and this and that, right? And
I won't.
in that regard, in that regard too, though, it's always the same type of people that they say like, oh look, I don't need no man, and I can do things on my own. I'm like, that's fantastic. I'm glad you can do things on your own, but then like 2 weeks later, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna say to us like, look, like you're like, yo, I need somebody who can fix my car. Guess how many guess what the percentages of men that are mechanics. Not like 90% of men are mechanics.
Hmm.
Of mechanics are men, I should say. Let me rephrase that. So, to sit there and say like, oh yeah, you don't need no man. Okay, so are you fixing your own car? Are you cooking your own fucking food? No, probably not. And if you are cooking your own food, it probably looks and tastes like shit. You're probably one of those women, and I'm gonna be 100% honest because I'm so fucking sick of. No, listen, I'm sick and tired of this shit. To be honest,
I will admit,
one second.
there's that 5%, there's that 5% out there, that is able to do all of that. You know what I mean?
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not
But
what I'm saying.
yeah.
I'm just specifically talking about the women who like will claim that I don't need a man, but they're also the same ones who are cooking you raw fucking chicken, putting it on your plate, saying this is fucking cooked. That shit's whiter than it's whiter than Casper the Ghost. Okay, that shit's unseasoned like white people food. Okay, and like I'm really fucking tired of it. As somebody who like who is a chef and was a chef, like that shit pisses me the fuck off to an unconscionable end. Okay, like I can't sit there and reasonably sit here and have a conversation about this and not get upset, or like not upset, but like get annoyed with the fact that they constantly act as if they're high and mighty and they don't need anything, but then at the same time they want to put out shit like that. They want to give us like the bullshit. That's what I'm more or less like annoyed about. I don't give a fuck about the 5% who can actually do it. I don't care about that. My point is, I'm just saying in general, like the people who go in and they'll make these comments and then go right like 2 minutes later they go and be hypocritical. That shit to me doesn't make sense. You can't have it both ways. This is not BK. You can't have it your way.
Could not have been any more truer.
No, that's like that. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that for me personally, it doesn't make sense for you to sit here and like that's for example like I'll say this. I don't know if you're married or not, but I'll say like this, right? If you were just dating your significant other, right? Not even like married or anything like that, right? If you were just dating this person and they said, "Oh, I don't need no man,"
Oh, it
are
would
you
be
still
off, man.
are you still marrying them?
It would be off, man.
No, 100% no.
That's my point. So like that's why I was saying what I was saying because like there's no way that I can sit here and tolerate that shit. I just don't see it being a reasonable
Or functioning relationship.
functioning relationship. Exactly, because that means that they're trying to be solely dependent on you while they sit there and they stack all this money and they build up their own like credit and they don't help you with bills. They're like, oh yeah, you got to pay all the bills, and then your credit suffers if you're late because you have to do this and this, and they expect you to buy them fucking flowers, buy them jewelry, take you shopping. They want to go out to eat every fucking day. They want to go out to the club every weekend. They want to do all this shit. They expect you to pay for it. They expect you to be, which is fine in some scenarios. Like, believe me, like if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I have no problem, spoiling you. But don't expect that every single aspect of the relationship. Yes, I'll do all the cooking because that's what I do. I actually do that for a living. I got no problem with that shit. Right? I got no problem, buying you flowers from time to time. I got no problem if we go out to eat sometimes. I got no problem if we go to the movies. I don't mind buying you some shit sometimes. But if you start sitting here like, oh, can I get $500 to go do my nails? Oh, one broke and I got to do all five of them again. I'm like, no, bitch, go get your own fucking money. You got money in the bank. I'm sorry, but like there's some circumstances in which you just gotta look at them like this bitch got two fucking heads or something. I'm sorry, but you have to. Like I don't give a like you can call me, whatever you want. Like chat, you guys can call me whatever. I don't care. Like it's whatever. I'm just speaking the truth, and I'm probably speaking for every man that has to deal with this shit. Like I've seen enough social media, and I've seen enough like Dawson said, these podcasts that talk about this kind of shit. And I think that us as men, we just expect that this is the type of shit we want to do in order to keep a woman. I say bullshit. What is a woman gonna do to keep us? That's the real question. I know my worth. I don't know about anybody else in the chat. I don't know about anybody else in the stream, guys. I know my worth as a man. I know what I bring to the table, and I know that I'm not gonna settle for less. So if I find a woman that's worth, like that's also part of the reason why I've been single for almost 7 years, because I have not found a woman who's worth my time and my energy. They can't match my energy. They can't match my level. Right? I'm putting out X. You also have to put out X. You're not going to put out A and expect me to just keep putting out X and you stay still at A. That's not how this shit works. That's a differentiation in power, and then it looks like abuse and controlling behavior when one person's at a lower level than you are and you're at the top. I'm not going to be labeled as controlling. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Fair enough, man. I'm still like going on the same topic. There's a speaking of podcasts, I watched one. It was just brief, I would say like 50 seconds. It's a well-known podcast, I suppose, on social media and YouTube. This guy asked the girl. The girl said, "Why should basically, if a guy doesn't like a woman who's overweight, they question why, like, why should she be rejected? It's simple as because the guy's not attractive. But she's getting offended saying why she should be rejected. So now it's as if you have to accept. You just, even if you don't want to, you have to take them as they are. This is his preference. And then we need to remember that they, after writing up to that, they live in such a fictional, they live in such a strange universe. They have all these preferences: short, skinny, or short, muscular, or whatever they for a guy to be. But if you, just because you don't like a girl, somehow it's an issue. Look, she's a fat cunt, alright? Doesn't take care of her weight. She's a parade float.
Parade float.
a whole walking beast. I'm not interested in that. If I'm into fitness, it would be nice to meet somebody that is also into fitness. And even if probably they're not into fitness, but they're in decent form, like they take care of themselves in some kind of way. I'm not gonna force myself an entire global pact. Like, just, it's ridiculous. I have to accept the entire universe now? A whole, come on, man.
Hey, real quick before you finish that tangent. Brandon said, I dealt with that with his ex and nothing is one-sided. And then in Twitch, A Stone said, dating is overrated. Just so you know.
I know, I heard, okay, fair enough.
I mean, I agree. I think that's true. Dating itself as a concept is overrated. So, I mean, it's not like. Go ahead, no.
Truth is, look, man, there's only one truth, and it's the only truth. Yeah, goes to everything. If I'm rejected, I take it as a. If they're rejected, they have to throw a tantrum and start. Some guys do. Some guys, they get so offended or so embarrassed, like lashing out or acting a certain way, will just cover up everything that they've just said or change the scenario from what it really is. But it's ridiculous. Because someone doesn't like you or like how you display yourself out there, you're gonna cry over it, or are you gonna curse at them, wish them terrible things, and say whatever it is? Wow, that's what it has come to. You're supposed to like a fat ass now. I'm not talking about a fat ab. I'm talking about a legitimate fat person.
Obese,
That's
obese.
that's got a loud mouth. That's disrespectful. Probably roll to get each part of the house that they. If she gets
Okay.
through. All right, I'm just saying. They don't have time fucking
Crazy.
getting to one place to another. You know, no, but a lot of them are rude because, of course, social media, it's given them this like ability to make it seem like being obese and perhaps nearly not dying is normal. You're not safe from yourself.
Right.
There's gonna be a day where if you don't really like, it goes for anyone. If you don't take care of yourself and you're in bad condition, ignoring it, just gonna get worse. I think if somebody has to tell you, look, you're fat, and you got to do something about that. It's getting out of hand. Sure, it's okay to cry over it, but it's okay to be if you get offended and it's ridiculous. But if you get offended and actually take a look at yourself in the mirror, if you can see most of yourself, and thing
Crazy.
to do something about that.
This is fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. No, what I was gonna say is too is that I think that the other thing that like people like, especially what you were saying about like the whole like forcing someone to like you like someone who's larger. Me personally, I don't like fat women. Okay, and I say the word fat and not obese. I mean not like, because let's be honest, a bigger woman, that could just mean somebody who has like thick thighs or like a small like bit of stomach, like nothing crazy. Okay, I have no problem with that in particular, right? Who's just got a little bit of meat on them. But we're talking about like somebody like the size of fucking, what's her name, Snorlax or whatever the fuck its name is. The answer's no. Huh? Yeah, yeah. See, but see, Brandon, the difference is thick, not fat. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't think that.
We're only referring to people who are truly overweight.
Well, that's what I was just. That's he said I like thick women. I said yes, I agree. I'm not disputing that at all. So, but I think that when it comes to like what you were saying. Oh fuck! I just lost my train of thought because I looked over the chat. Fuck. No, what I was saying is that the when people tell us like, oh, like we have to like this person because of otherwise it's body shaming. Like, well, first of all, let's be honest. If you didn't want to be body shamed, then you should go to the fucking gym and take care of yourself. I'm gonna be fucking honest. Fucking take care of yourself, or shut the fuck up. That's it. Bottom line. There's no like I'm not, and I'm saying that. Yes, I'm saying that like an asshole, and I don't care. You guys can hate on me all you guys fucking want. Like I think that the fact of the matter is, if you are that concerned about how you look to somebody else, do something about it. Do something about it. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Because I don't think I am, chat. Like I am genuinely speaking, like me, okay, I felt uncomfortable with how much, like, I got hit by a car 10 years ago, okay, and so it was to the point where like I couldn't walk very well. I had a lot of issues, a lot of like back problems and stuff like that, and so basically it got to the point where me like I had ended up gaining a lot of weight because of my injury. I wasn't able to be physically active, so then it became I got more physically active this past year, because after 10 years I finally was able to physically put myself into that space, okay, where I could be physically active. I finally didn't have the same type of pain that I had before. Because of that, I felt uncomfortable in my body. I didn't gain like a ton of weight where I was like massive and like obese, but I gained enough weight that I felt uncomfortable. I've since lost 30 pounds. I did something about it. Like there's no, like I don't care like what anybody says. New Year's resolutions are fucking bullshit. If you cared enough about doing something, if you really wanted to make a drastic change in your fucking life, you just do it. And for all these women who are like, oh no, big is beautiful, bitch, shut the fuck up. It's not. It's not. I don't care how you were born. I don't care if everyone else in your family is like that. Genetics. You can make the fucking change yourself. Put
At any
down the
given
cake.
moment, if you apply
Put
if
down
you
the
apply
cake.
yourself.
No, listen. Put down the fucking cake. Put down the fucking donuts. Pick up some celery.
I don't want to put down the cake and donuts.
That's why you're like 600 pounds, Kaduri. No, but honestly, like, but then you have like, people like, okay, there's a show on TLC. It's a TV channel here in the States. It's called My 1,000 Pound Life or something like, or My 600 Pound Life or some shit like that. I only saw it briefly because my mother watches it or some shit like that. But like, these most of them are women. These women are like, 750, 800 pounds. There are some men on the show, but they're like, oh yeah, it got out of control and this and that. I'm like, no, you just couldn't stop eating KFC. You had a bucket of fried chicken for every fucking meal, and then you decided you were gonna have like 35 large sodas afterwards. Like what? Who like first of all, I don't think you understand that it's no one else's fault but your own. I don't give a fuck about the whole genetics thing. Like, that shit is meaningless to me. You put yourself in that situation. Only you can get yourself out of it. And then you have, like, that stupid fucking show, The Biggest Loser, where they put you through, like, these intense workouts to make you lose weight. If they want to be fat, let them be fucking fat. That's their own fault. You can't stop that shit. You can give them all the tools in the world, but if they're not going to change their fucking pattern of behavior, like they say, history's doomed to repeat itself. Put down the fucking cake, you fat ass, and go take a lap.
No, but without insulting them, if they really care, they would make the effort. That's just it.
Right, exactly, yeah. No, and I'm obviously saying this jokingly, of course. For the sake of content, I think that a lot of those, people who are obese. I mean, it comes down to willpower. A lot of them don't have the willpower from years and years of issues and whatever else has been in their life. And there's, again, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that they haven't had like the support to kind of get them into the right space. But I still am not going to be forced to like them in terms of relationship wise. I'm not going to be forced to say, oh well, that's not very nice of you. You should want to date them because they're just lovely people. They're just misunderstood. No, they're not. I understand them just fine. They like to eat a lot of fucking bad food. I understand just fine. You know what I mean? Just chat. Don't mind me. I just don't like being forced to like something I don't like.
Yeah, but carrying on that part of the conversation, the woman who was talking to this guy on this podcast, when she said, so you would go out with me. You wouldn't go out with me if I was bigger, but you would go out with me if I was slimmer. He said, yes. She said, fuck off, with so much irritation in her voice. Why is that irritating you, though? This is ridiculous.
It's $1 million question, isn't it, chat? Darren loves them thick.
Well, you can't change her mind. You can tell.
No, but listen to this.
A woman should not be rejected because of her weight.
Because, like, what does weight have to do with it? Like, you're telling me that if I was bigger, you wouldn't want me because I'm skinny, you want me.
Yeah. Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I don't know if you heard what she said.
I did.
Yeah, so.
Hold on. Okay, so Taryn, then questionnaire. How tall are you? The minimum. You said you're 5'4". You would date for a minute. It's 5'9". Wait, how is this any different than the weight thing?
Exactly.
You telling me because a guy's 5 or 5'5" or 5'3"? Well, you can't change your height, but you can definitely change your weight.
Exactly.
But what is it
That
with the fat girls and like there's always
See,
that
she doesn't have a
suppressing
good
of it, and
argument.
it's always
She doesn't
like
have
What's wrong with not women cannot want to date a fat guy?
but why
I
does
have
that
to
matter?
a little bit, but why does it matter? Because physical people care about physical attraction, and the reality is, if you're overweight, you're fat. Some people are not attracted. Not just some. Most people are probably not attracted to.
I mean, like I
So why is it wrong for a guy not? I mean, it could go either way. A woman doesn't want to date a fat guy. That's
Yeah, I just know that there's like a very, it's like not up tall. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of women there that I want a guy who's 6 feet, or he's got to have abs, and he's got to make figure. That's a very small percentage.
No, it's
And,
not.
You know,
It's not.
as far as weight goes, it is something that most of the times we do have control over, you know, and it's okay to have that preference. You know, if you don't want
Before you finish
that
playing
is
that, I just want to touch on that
No,
comment.
I think I've already made my point just by playing most.
Yeah. No, I wanted to touch briefly on you know, the 2 points that both he and she made. The commentary that he made, if you guys didn't hear it in the chat, was like about the height requirements. So, like, women tend to say things like, "Oh, you know, I need somebody who's at least 6 feet tall," and like, especially for like the women that are like on the shorter side, you know, I need them to be able to reach up in high places. First of all, bitch, shut the fuck up. Get a step ladder. You know, obviously I'm joking, but it's true though. A lot of women will say these types of things, but you make a comment about their weight and then we're insensitive, right? Like we can't change how tall we're born to be or anything like that. And he's right. Like you can change your weight. She is right. You can change your weight. But what she did say that I found to be, you know, particularly disturbing, obnoxious, whatever you want to call it, was the fact that she said that there's only a small percentage of women who care about height and how much money you make. No, that's every fucking woman. It is. Gonna be honest with you. And it's quite actually obnoxious at how many women are, you know, complain about something along, you know, about oh, you know, I make X, Y, and Z per year. I don't give a fuck. You ain't worth it to me. Like that shit. That to me is ignorant. You know, I just don't see how that.
Trying to prove something that doesn't.
Yeah, like who does it benefit? I'm not spending my money on you if that's the case.
This is what I mean. If it's your achievement, it's got nothing to do with anyone else, unless you
What's
choose
going on,
to
Bones?
make it. Unless you choose to make it something to do with someone else, it's your choice. Whether if you have a house, if you have money, I'm gonna refer to women. If a woman has a house and you don't have a house, and you guys begin to date, somehow it works. He tells you to come stay with her. If she's not demented in the head, if she genuinely cares about you, well-being, about your just entire existence, she's not gonna kick you out of the house when she gets upset over minor things, or she feels like her feelings aren't being met halfway.
Right.
Instead of talking about it, a woman would say, look, can we discuss certain things? I've been feeling this way. I was wondering if we could talk about it. But if she's demented, she's gonna lash out, throw a tantrum, be just basically disrespectful to her. And will just feel like she has authority over you because you live in her house. And she can kick you out whenever she wants, and whenever she feels better, she's gonna call you and tell you to come back. So the relationship is just pointless at that when it's reached that point. But if it was a guy, and he was demented and he was abusive, it plays out the same way, but it's different because it's a guy. And it's worse if they're married. Even if this guy is abusive, if they get a divorce, she gets most of the shares. Unless she doesn't want them, of course. But my point is, let's a guy will take in a woman into his home and not feel a certain way about when he's angry or upset about kicking her out. But a woman, I'm telling you, if she has this kind of mentality, she will kick you out. She will treat you like you don't matter, like you
Exactly.
because you're in her domain. No expansions, Kadori. And she can do as she pleases. Of course, at the start it's gonna be
No
all
expansions.
sweet
I'm dead.
yeah. At the start it's gonna be all sweet, great, candy-like. But later
What's going on, Sean?
It tastes a little bitter. So, just putting it out there. I don't know why
Right.
they think they're like a walking form of glory. I don't know why some of them believe this, but it's really pathetic, and they won't get far with this kind of behavior.
Well, that's exactly why, what I said before about, men being considered less valuable than women in that regard, and like that women are seen as more as a commodity is for this exact reason, because women will treat a man however the fuck they please, and we're just supposed to accept it. Whereas if a man try to treat a woman the same way, they're looked at like, oh, we're misogynistic, or we're abusive, we're controlling, we're this and this. But it's like, well, we're at the end of the day, we're still human beings. We still have, I mean, as much as people don't like to acknowledge it, men do have feelings. They might not all be, the right feelings or the feelings that you agree with, but regardless of the fact, we are still human in nature, and therefore inherently we have feelings. Just because we don't display them at all, or we don't we don't share them with the world, doesn't mean we don't have them. And that's the part that really has to be taken into consideration, is like when you have these kind of conversations with people and you talk about like, what is going on in the world, in terms of like, women dating men, men dating women, women, men, whatever, like whatever your preference is, right? There's always that one form of like, one person who's gonna have a say about something, no matter what, right? And that's typically is typically women saying something about men. Men ain't shit. That's the go-to, like, go-to phrases. Men ain't shit, right?
Yeah,
And
a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of them.
and I'm not saying, obviously I'm not saying every woman, because like,
No, there's so many of them.
there's so many,
Yeah.
so many, and it's honestly quite fucking annoying, to be fair. But I think that a lot of people just like kind of just brush it off and look at it as if, there's nothing wrong with, hold on one second. A lot of guys just brush it off, because I mean, I brush that shit off. That shit don't mean nothing to me. At this point, I'm just so tired of like, women just, saying the same shit over and over again. I really am. I don't fucking care anymore. I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? And I think that,
See,
like, go ahead.
I was gonna say this, but think about it this way. If I were, let's say I lived with you, right? Not I'm just like a
Roommate,
or a friend,
yeah.
or whatever, yeah. And I constantly disrespect you, but the only reason you tolerate me, because I probably pay for the rent, or I
Pay half the rent.
Yeah. And if I hate you, if you report me, it's gonna make your life a little harder. I gotta go out and but yet the rent is still, there's gonna be rent due,
Yeah.
But the day I get in trouble in the same house and I'm being attacked, who's the first person I'm gonna call out to?
Right.
The person I live with, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna need your help. So, women say, a lot of these women you're referring to, disrespectful, when they're in danger. Now somebody has to help them. I thought you were Chuck Norris. I thought you made it clear you don't need any form of assistance from a male in any way possible. But now that you're in danger, of course, what's if a guy sees a woman in danger, of course, unless he freezes, I'm just being real. The majority of guys are going to jump if they can help. They're going to take the opportunity. You know,
Nah, bro.
even if it's
I'll let it be.
No. I'm saying, like, yeah. No,
Let that
that's the
bitch go
problem.
down.
No, this is my point. This is my. They
I'll
expect
mind,
you
I'll
to help
mind my
them.
business.
They expect you to help them, but then they're gonna say stuff like that. They're gonna. They expect. This is what I mean.
Why
They
didn't
live
you
with
help
expectation.
me?
They live with that because I don't care about your well-being. I have no regard for your life. That's why. I'll say it. I'll say it like that. Why didn't you help her? I'll look at the cops and say, if they ask me, were you here? I was here. What happened? I saw that guy kick her in the jaw, drop kick her, pick her up, slam her on the ground.
I'm good. I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved.
The suspect you're after is gone. He's the one you should be asking why he did it. Why didn't you help? Because I didn't want to.
I don't
Why not?
have to.
Because I did not want to. It's a straightforward response. You're a terrible person. I'll continue to be this way. The thing is, we don't owe them. No one owes another person anything. This is even talking. This is my point. This is what these podcasts are talking about. Stuff like this. Like, it's constant, man. It's constant. It's really exhausting. I'll say it again. There's bigger issues in the world for us to about something like this. In some other universe, maybe what we're talking about, there is a life where there's balance, and no one questions what the other gender should do. It's just normal. Each person knows what they should do, or takes upon their role without thinking about it. In nature, it's natural. Maybe there is a universe like that. But I promise you, if a female disrespects me, and later on that same day, she gets into trouble, and I see it happen, I'll be standing there smiling. Watch me. Watch me. Watch it happen.
I hear that. Well, that's what I said.
I don't care about you. I don't.
You're not wrong, man. You are not wrong, my friend.
Yeah, man. It's we to be honest, I think we are bigger than this subject. We are definitely bigger than this subject. As long as we know how we view this and understand it, there's not much more to say until something occurs.
No, but the thing is too, like it kind of also boils down to a little bit about like, you know, how much effort women are willing to put into the relationship. Because like, you know, there are some women, like, of course there are some women who like actually want to, you know, not just like take care of their man, like, because obviously I don't need to be taken care of. I'm more than capable of doing my own shit, right? What I mean by that is like, they want to spoil them. They want to be able to like go out of their way and say, look, all right, my man provides a lot for me, so let me go out of my way. Let me pack his lunch or something. Let me do X, Y. Let me do Z. Let me do, you know, whatever the case may be, right? And like minor shit that, you know. So that's why I say, like, I think there's a lot of stuff that people just don't really understand. Like, it's you know, that people don't really look at it like that, you know, and I think that that's part of the problem, is that we just don't have enough, you know, enough people looking at situations like this and saying, like, look, this is exactly what, you know, we need. So, I fucked that up. Legacy, thank you for joining. Those of you guys just joining here, one second. Let me just do this quick announcement thing. Those of you guys just joining, it's Tuesday, guys. So Tuesdays we talk about real shit that's going on, and we talk about things that are going on in, you know, the world, from both the United States perspective and from international perspectives as well. So thank you guys for joining in. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, but if there's a female just in danger, something going on, like something really terrible, and she's not one of these kind of, like, for example, back. You know, she wouldn't be my wife the way she is. There's clearly some form of like genuinity between both of us, and like, you know, it's natural. But if it's some broad, it smells like the sewers.
Some broad.
You know? Yeah.
Nah,
you know
that's
what I mean by smell like this?
Yeah. I just think that's funny as shit.
Yeah.
Some broad.
Jeez.
Some dumb broad.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I'm not Superman. I'm not gonna fly around putting my fists on my hips and pushing my chest out. I'm not here to save you. Because the thing is, guys don't expect them to save. You know, as a guy, expect them to save you. We don't expect it. When you're in danger and you're alone, you're in danger. And if you're with your friends, true friends, if you guys are in danger, you're gonna try to get out of there, or just try to defend yourself in some form of way. Like me and Kaduri. Last time, danger. We like out the gun. We had to slide cancel, bunny hop, and he was. The moment you reload, charged at him. Kaduri drop kicked him. Drop kick, you know. Yeah, but all the jokes aside, there's bigger problems on this planet than this. This shouldn't be one of them, really. This should not be one of them. Now they want to argue who's the strongest.
Gojo's the strongest.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have any say on behalf of this subject. It's literally, it lasted longer than
You anticipated?
what we've had. Yeah, like it really did. It really did.
Did it?
Yeah, it did, because before you showed up, we were thinking about incidents that occurred recently.
Yeah.
You know, and those were like short and bitter. This is long and not sweet. I hope you can understand when I say this. Like, this shouldn't even be a topic to touch upon. It just makes no sense.
We shouldn't have to touch upon it, but yet here we are, you know, in the fucking in 2026, still dealing with the same shit we dealt with in, you know, the mid 2000s. And I'm not saying like 2000 to 2010. I'm saying 2010 and beyond. More so, in particular, 2015 and beyond. I'd say over the last like 10 years, this has become more of a constant topic. With the whole like woke agenda thing. Now, like I'm not sitting here saying, oh, like, you know, everyone's woke and this and that, blah blah blah. Because it's true, not everyone gives a shit. I don't give a fuck. Okay? I don't care about these fucking pronouns. I don't care if you think you're a fucking cat. I don't give a shit. Okay? If you want to look like a fucking idiot, go look like a fucking idiot. No one gives a fuck. Okay? We're just going to sit here, point, and laugh at you. As funny, you know, as fucked up as that sounds, I don't care.
But that's what'll happen.
No, absolutely. If you come up to me and tell me I identify as a fucking chicken, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Not because I dislike you. I'm going to show you because you sound like a fucking tool. You're a fucking human being. Act like it. I don't know. I don't know what else to say, man. Just, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't fucking know what else to say.
Yeah, just try to be civil about it, man, because it's a subject that's just worthless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and you can't like do anything about it either, because then you'll be considered like, you know, you're committing a hate crime. I just, you know, I not that I don't understand it. I understand that people that have their own, you know, their own mindset and, you know, their own whatever, and that's fine.
No, here's the thing. See, a lot of these woke folks, they behave like the females we're talking about. They can say whatever they want. You say anything against them, or you challenge them, they go haywire. They lose their mind.
Sorry, Brandon just commented. He goes, if you identify as an animal, then you're going to get treated like one. Had to chuckle at that a little bit. All right, what were you saying, Dawson?
Sorry, you were saying, I didn't hear what you said.
No, I said Brandon just commented. He goes, if you identify as an animal, then you're going to get treated like one.
Definitely.
So I was laughing at that. I just thought that was funny. But he's not wrong though. That's what I mean. Like I just don't understand this whole woke agenda, man.
Treat them like a wild animal.
I don't understand the woke agenda.
I have no interest in it, but they love to like try to force.
Throw it in your face. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know why they struggle to just say their piece and move on. Because now we heard them, and if somebody wants to act upon it, they're gonna act upon it. They want members of society.
Yeah.
Just say it and then move on. It's kind of a joke, man.
It's definitely depressing.
No, and you could probably ask your chat if they want us to touch upon. We have it.
I started cutting out a little bit.
Hmm?
You're cutting out a little bit. I didn't hear you. Ask my chat what?
And now he's gone.
He's gone. He's gone forever.
No, I'm here. Ask you. Maybe you could. I was gonna say you could ask your chat if there's anything they want us to touch upon. If they want to ask any questions, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, Chad, if you guys are just joining us, welcome in. We want to know, is there anything that you guys want to touch upon tonight? What can we do to make your night a little bit more chaotic and enjoyable? I think right now it's just one person in the chat, so we'll see.
Okay.
At least on TikTok. I only have, what's his name on TikTok right now? Oh shit, I didn't have enough. Fuck. Alright, well. You want to talk about football? Well, okay, so I'm the one who can talk about football, because they don't have they're not from the States. Let's put it that way. That's why we're just touching upon like global subjects in general. So is there any topic that you want to talk about, Brandon? Someone said global warming.
I don't know much about it anymore, man.
I mean, I can't speak to it like that, but I can say this. It is real, and it does exist. That's about as much as I can. He said, "Fuck icebergs." Oh my god, fucking Darren, bro.
Calm down, Darren.
I know, like he just like had an orgasm. He like had like a fucking orgasm with that one. He's like, oh fuck icebergs. Ah, all right, bro.
Yeah, he clearly has an agenda.
Mm.
He's trying to prove something.
Fuck ace.
That's correct. Also, fuck ice.
I welcome all allies.
You're not wrong, brother. No, I think the global warming. I mean, one of the things that I will say this, and one thing that it really, on the topic of global warming, something that kind of happened to us here in the states like a little while ago, was President Trump pulling out of like what do you call it, the green, I forget what they called it. It was something to do with the global like consortium that deals with like global warming and like that space. And I thought it, like to me I thought that was kind of stupid for the simple fact that like it's a real fucking thing. It's not like we're just making up things like, oh yeah, you know, hey, by the way, guys, occasionally, like, you know, it gets warm outside. Like, no, like, the sea level's rising. Scientists have been studying this for like the past 50 fucking years. You know what I mean? It's not like we're just making this shit up. And so I just find it really obnoxious that he pulled out of, you know, these types of deals. And we continue to utilize, it's a hunt for fucking oil. Continue to utilize oil. Not that electric vehicles are any better, because those, when those batteries, you know, they leak, they're even worse than like, you know, just standard batteries. You know what I mean? More toxic. But I mean, that's as much as I gotta say on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm empty on this subject too.
Yeah, sorry, Stone.
I welcome all allies.
Do the movie though.
A little bit. I don't know, man.
Closest that is gonna get that motherfucker.
Close enough there.
I'm a fucking featherweight. That's insane.
Guys, my fucking scene changed. There we go.
Tough Time Tuesdays, is that what we call it?
Oh,
Uh-huh,
that's
uh-huh.
Fucking... I just created that dude and then lost it.
Basic
Good
Sales
idea.
Tuesdays.
Nice.
Yeah, Bones, welcome back. I know you're looking forward to Need for Speed, but not tonight, man. Not tonight.
Let's do that again.
No, let's not and say we did.
MMA.
I wonder if I had that game still on my on EA, because I would love. I actually kind of want to go play in UFC game.
Oh,
I like doing the campaign shit.
That's what I fucking threw it up
Yeah.
for.
Oh yeah, are you?
Back.
Why? Why are you back?
Simply here just to show presence. That's all.
Fighting out of Donegal, Ireland.
Void, welcome
Setting
back.
rage doesn't mean
Oh,
shit.
every bone just in my body just cracked chat.
What about
That's
you,
crazy.
Conquerors? We don't want to
What?
waste. We don't want to waste this time we have with the chat. Them just sitting there and just listening to guys randomly talk amongst themselves. We do this on our own. But is there anything, something else you'd like to bring up?
No, honestly, one thing that I will say is, I find that oftentimes, I just fucking lost my train of thought. Fuck.
It's alright.
Yeah, well, I'll just leave it at that. I don't really necessarily have anything off the top of my head right now. Oh fuck, I think we covered almost everything. Tipsy, welcome in. Let's talk movies, man. Let's talk movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the damn things. Yeah. What movies are coming
Well,
out that you want to see?
nothing
Let's
really.
start with horror. Any horror movies you're
Oh.
looking to see?
I just saw this.
Juan, welcome back.
Not that I'm excited to see it or watch it, but Bloomhouse has released a movie called. I watched the trailer a couple of hours ago. I gotta go find it now.
Oh man, I love Blumhouse actually. They made this movie a couple years ago, on the beach or whatever the fuck it was called. I don't remember what it's called. It was like the one where they age when they're on the beach or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Void,
yeah,
welcome
I
back.
remember that one.
What was that called? I wanted to see it. I don't remember what it's called. That's why I can't fucking so I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I don't. Bloomhouse released a. Yeah, they're gonna release a movie, man. I don't know. Looks like a horror movie. It is. That's what they deal with anyway.
Nice, nice.
Oh, it's called Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Oh, it's supposed to be the remake of the original one. I don't know. I don't really. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not excited, but
It's
that's what
watchable,
they're
possibly.
releasing. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, I still haven't watched Weapons yet. Have you seen it?
I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I have it. I have it available to watch. I just haven't watched it yet. I've been kind of like oddly disappointed in like some movies
I haven't
lately.
seen it. No, I haven't seen it. With the kids going missing and all that.
Yeah, no, I want to watch that shit, to be honest.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to, actually watching that.
That would be a show. I mean,
Would love to watch something that's gonna give me some kind of fright.
Yeah, we can watch that thing later, yeah?
Yeah, way later.
Way later.
Wavy.
Boy.
Darren, you don't necessarily like horror movies, do you?
No, dude. I'm actually planning on watching soon, hopefully. Don't know if you really count it as horror, but 28 years later.
Yeah, it's horror. Yeah, not like
See,
jump
I don't know
scare.
if I how I
Maybe
feel about
some.
that. That
Yeah,
new one,
they just released two of them. Like, didn't they release one, two in
like
like
two
within
years
2
ago.
years?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Have you watched all the paranormal? See, I haven't watched them in a really long time, but yes, I've watched all the Paranormal Activity movies.
Uh, I think those
Ah,
movies
that
are
was the other
quite good.
topic I wanted to talk about. Fucking ghosts, man.
I gotta go.
Because
Yeah, something just came up. I gotta go.
ah, sit your ass down.
Sorry.
All of a sudden, you just see a hand reach through the fucking screen and just pull you back, but there's nothing there. Like what?
You're not going anywhere. Yeah, but what is it? Go ahead, ghost.
No, I was gonna say, I have, in fact, I have actually seen ghosts in real life. Um, I was actually a kid when it happened. Um, I was probably about 8 or 9, I want to say. I was over a childhood friend of mine. We also were kind of like friendly, if you would, um, outside of being friends. And we were hanging out in her mother's bedroom. I don't remember what fucking reason. Um, I had gone out to go to the bathroom. I walked back in. Now she has a mirror in the bathroom, as do most women. Um, and I saw this like white figure in the fucking mirror. So I looked, and when I walked into the room, there was nothing there. I looked back at the mirror; it was gone. And to this day, I will never forget that. So now I asked about it, and supposedly, in that particular apartment, um, like 4 or 5 years earlier, some woman was murdered. Her and her daughter was murdered in that apartment.
Damn. Yeah, I remember you
Yeah,
telling me this.
yeah. So like to me, like will never not remember that. You know what I mean? So like to me, like you can't tell me that fucking ghosts aren't real or paranormal, things aren't real. I think that they absolutely fucking are real. And if you don't believe in it in 2025, 2026, then there's something wrong with you. Darren, we already know there's something wrong with you, so you don't need to comment.
But
No, nothing. I was
there's
just. We already know there's something wrong
already
with you.
something wrong with you. There's no need to comment.
Wow.
See? See, Chad, he's a little slow.
Get the pencil.
Get the pencil. What the fuck? He thinks he's fucking John Wick.
That's exactly what he means.
No, actually, he thinks it's Denzel Washington. He thinks he's the Equalizer. Because I think isn't that
Pencil.
he times himself.
What the fucking pencil? Can you imagine that?
All of this over a fucking dog.
Not just any dog. John Wick's dog.
John Wick's dog. All right, chat. I'm gonna let these two talk for a quick second about ghosts and shit. I'm gonna run to the restroom. I can still hear the conversation.
No, man. Look, I'm gonna be honest. It's not much about ghosts, but what's the point, man? I can't even see your chat. Like, no, but Darren, the only thing I can talk about when it comes to paranormal or just weird things that are like worldly for us would be the back rooms. Those creatures in the back rooms.
Yeah, that shit's fucking.
They look
freaky.
so bizarre. They look so bizarre. Like just I don't even know how to explain why they look the way they do, but they're just strange, man. Like the one with the teeth asking like we're asking you where you are in such a like childlike voice, but it's so frightening looking. Remember that one?
Mm.
Darren, do you remember
The
that?
shade like one.
You know, like it has like a childlike voice,
Oh
but
yes.
it's with teeth.
Yeah.
Where are
The
you?
one that was like and then it
Yeah,
started like imitating previous people
yeah,
and shit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Uh, no, I don't think you do.
No,
Honestly, I don't
I've
think you
seen
do.
like I've seen things about I don't know like entirely, but I've seen things on what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called though.
So it's no, it's just creatures in the back rooms. They're so
Mm.
strange. I don't the way they look, and you can imagine they scream, and some of them just are able to teleport. But the one I'm talking about, Conquest, it can
Yeah.
imitate voices from people it's already probably killed or people it's already heard.
Right.
Not necessarily having to kill them, but maybe they escaped from it. But it can pick up their voice, you know. And then whenever you fall into the back rooms and you see it, and you manage to get away from it and hide from it, it would like try to draw you in by using these voices like a skinwalker.
Yeah.
But the way it looks, Darren, Darren, can you tell him how it looks? Shit, human
But
teeth.
like
The
oh
one
that
we're
there
talking
creature
about. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then
All
fucking
right. So what do you think about this take? Aliens
it's
are real.
nothing like
Somebody said that
you've
on my
seen.
chat.
It's
Huh?
fucked.
It's big time. What's the question, Henry?
No, I said, what is your take on this? Somebody in my chat said aliens are real.
I suppose, yeah. There's
Personally,
so many
I would
questionable
agree.
things in the universe. I just don't have any evidence to back it up, because a lot of footage or things that have been recorded can be easily fabricated. But
True.
there's something out there, though, man. There's definitely something out there.
I would say, I would agree.
To an extent.
To an extent, yeah. And the reason why I say to an extent, because I think that there's a lot that not just the United States is hiding, but like a lot that other governments around the world are also hiding. And I think that when it comes to aliens, I think one of the biggest, like for me, the biggest giveaways regarding like aliens are the stargates. Around the world, there are at least known recorded stargates. There's at least 4 or 5 known recorded ones, and that's not necessarily to say that there aren't more, but there have been known to be many around the world. And obviously, I don't know if anybody have seen Stargate and Stargate SG-1 as movies and shows, but they're essentially portals to either other dimensions or to other planets. And I think that, obviously these shows weren't just created for shits and giggles. You know what I mean? They were created with some sort of, you know, accuracy to them. You know, um, that's my opinion, of course. And I think that there's other instances that you can't explain. For example, like there's no way that human beings built the fucking pyramids. There's none. There's no fucking way in hell. Like you can't tell me with any sort of reasonable like articulation that they built it.
Yeah, this is the thing, because I don't know. I wasn't. It's so many things just remain unanswered. Shit.
Well, think about it like this, right? So the pyramids. I mean, each if you look at how many, obviously it's hard to count because I'm assuming they probably go into the ground as well. If you look at how heavy, or look at the size and density of one of those individual.
Conquest. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go use the restroom, but you can. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm just gonna talk to chat. Darren, you're obviously here.
Yeah, I
But
don't need to
if
feel
you,
like no one's listening, but I know your chat is. That's the objective. So.
yeah,
I'll be back.
well, the chat can hear you too. So,
Okay.
But what I was going to say though is if you take a look at the concrete slabs that are used to build, um, the pyramids, those are not light by any means. You're not going to sit there and tell me that they're going to use a pulley system or push these some probably 25-ton uh, rock slabs on any sort of moving mechanism. I just don't see it happening, right? And we already know that for decades there have been instances of or communication attempts at communication from other species, right? We've heard the radio broadcast, we've seen the footage, we've seen things like Roswell, we know that there's Area 51 is the most like secure place in the world besides the seed vault in Norway. Like we know these things, right? But you can't tell me that anybody is physically moving those slabs. I don't care how strong they are. The average person, okay, majority of them were slaves. Majority of them were probably, maybe at best like 130, 140 pounds, because they weren't like super, super jacked, like super big guys, back then, because even like the average height was only like 5 feet tall, 5'4", right? You'd have the occasional person who was like taller, but I think most of you know people who lived then were not that tall. They weren't that strong. Let's be fucking real here, guys. And so that's my take on that. Darren, what do you think?
In terms of what?
Like, do you think that the pyramids were built by like the Jews and Egyptians, or do you think it's done by alien technology?
It's tough. I don't think it was alien technology, but I would say there was. It was more advanced back then than it is known to now, and maybe that's alien intervention. They've had some type of thing like that, but I wouldn't say it's
Right.
like straight through alien technology.
No, they probably had assistance,
Yeah,
from some sort of alien life form. Um, but I'm not saying that specifically. Obviously, the pyramid is, like ancient. I mean, or alien technology. But the fact that they were built by aliens would probably be more feasible. Um, what is your take on this? So Brandon just said, I think there's something in the ocean that we don't know what's there. Only 10% of the ocean has been discovered. I mean, I tend to, yes, kind of agree with that in the sense that where the Mariana Trench, for example, or any of like the deepest parts of the ocean are concerned, we physically can't get to those places because of how deep it is, and just the pressure, the immense pressure. Um, so I'm in partial agreement with that. Like we just don't know. But do you think there's something down there that is important for us to, kind of consider here?
important for us to consider. I would say no, not important for us to consider. Maybe lost history, and maybe more explanation of what was going on back then. Maybe, but probably not significantly important to something that would drastically change us or affect us today.
So one of the things that people say, or one of the theories, is that there are, what do you call it? There are like in underneath the or in the Mariana Trench, there are things that basically leads to like another world, or like a world within a world, essentially, right? And so I think that is something that would definitely, like, that would intrigue the fuck out of me. I don't know about anybody else. I think that like that is something that would be kind of interesting. Think like a lot of people So are you familiar with the book Journey to the Center of the Earth?
Nope.
Okay, so
Come to them.
the Journey to the Center of the Earth was written by it's Wells. I can't remember the first two initials. It's uh, Wells is the last name, and basically he details a obviously a fictitious journey where um, this group of people and a scientist, a father, son, and a scientist, basically travel to the center of the Earth, utilizing like some sort of like submersible, and they are able to basically get to the center of the Earth. And what they discover was that there was like a planet within a planet. Now, since that book was published, there have been many attempts to, for example, drill to the center of the Earth. The world's largest hole, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is it Russia? It's either Russia or China. Let me double check on that, chat, because I don't want to say the wrong location. Um, largest drill hole is so the Kola Super Deep boreholes in Russia. So currently, right now, it is approximately sitting at around 7.6 miles deep. Let's see. It is the deepest artificial point on Earth, and it's deeper than Mount Everest is tall, and the Mariana Trench is deep. But it's only 9 inches in diameter.
It's only 9 inches in diameter.
So 23 centimeters.
How long, dude?
No, it's so it's seven. So it's 12,000 meters deep.
12,000 meters deep. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So that's the largest artificial place on Earth, like the deepest artificial place on Earth. So, like that being said, like they're trying, like I know that they're trying to discover like what is beyond the crust. Like we know like the crust, the Earth, the, like the crust, the mantle, the core, but like they're trying to discover whether or not there's like actual like what's beyond the crust.
Yeah.
Which I mean, obviously everyone just assumes like it's just just straight up fucking what am I fucking trying to say? The like is basically just molten magma. But people believe that if you enter into certain parts of the earth, like there's certain like not man-made but like natural like holes in the earth, that you would essentially reach a space that is not like not just magma, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a different sector, or I don't know how you'd call
Basically,
it.
yeah, like a second planet.
You can
Yeah.
enter. Yeah.
Chat, what do you guys think about that?
That is,
Animo, thank you for joining. What?
that is possible.
You think so, Brandon? You think there's like a planet within a planet? I also think that's a possibility.
Yeah. You better told you about.
Copy that. Yeah, I mean, I think that would absolutely be cool to find out for sure.
Conquest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to. I'm gonna have to cut it short, man. I gotta wake up not long from now.
Yep, I think we're
But it
right.
was
I'm right
nice
there with you.
Yeah, it was nice to tune in with. I don't want to say similar minds, but with other people, and not many, but enough of them to have their own opinions on what they think of this
Yeah,
whole
absolutely.
place. Yeah.
All right, chat. So that is it for our Tough Talk Tuesdays, man. This is something that like we really we like to dive into. We want to do. We would like to do it more often on Tuesdays. Obviously, have like you guys kind of give us topics that you guys want us to cover. So throughout the week, if you guys are joining my stream, I'll ask you guys what kind of topics we should cover. And we'll I like to do research, so if there's something that you think that we should cover, I'll do some research into it, so I have some talking points. And we like to, obviously, as you can tell, we just spent the last 3 hours talking about everything. Deep stuff, real stuff, fun stuff, bullshit. We just kind of like all over the place. We just talk about everything, like no filters. We don't hold back. We just want to give everybody a good time. So if you guys joined us today, thank you guys so much. This is something we want to continue to do for you guys. And with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end my stream, guys. I hope you guys have a great night. And we will